News for the Rams at home in Los Angeles.
It's about the team. I'm so happy for these players. World champs, baby!
Coach Sean McVay, after a 23-20 win over the Bengals on NBC Sports, sealed when the LA defense stuffed Cincinnati on the fourth down in the final minute.
Burrow trying to keep it going, gets spun down, gets it away, and incomplete.
Rams receiver Cooper Kupp, who caught 2 touchdown passes, was named Super Bowl MVP. There's an Olympic update. The Court for Arbitration for Sport ruled today that Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva will be allowed to compete tomorrow despite a pre-Olympic failed drug test, but there won't be any ceremonies for any medals she wins. And speaking of Russia, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tells CBS Face the Nation.
As far as we're concerned, the United States of America diplomacy is still open and available.
President Biden spoke with the leaders of Ukraine and Russia over the weekend as the U.S. keeps warning Russia of severe punishment if it invades. Congressional leaders will get a briefing later this morning. There's an update on that Freedom Convoy trucker protest in Canada that blocked border crossings. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has it live.
Dave, the Ambassador Bridge, which connects Detroit with Windsor, Ontario, is open again after being blocked by protest over COVID-19 restrictions like vaccine mandates for truckers. For nearly a week, that thing's been closed. Now, it's the busiest border crossing between the U.S. and Canada. Protests continue at some other crossings, the largest one ongoing in Ottawa. Protesters started blocking the Ambassador last Monday, which has led to automakers shutting down or cutting back on production at a time when the industry is struggling with pandemic-induced shortages of computer chips and other supply chain issues. Dave.
Tanya, as for those truckers, Louis Pugh with the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association says,
we are not against vaccines. We just feel that it's a sort of a pro-choice. It's your body.
COVID cases keep dropping from the peak Omicron surge down a 4th week in a row. America's listening to Fox News.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:03, and we are expecting a warm day today, a little bit warmer than we're used to for this time of year. Sunshine, today's high around 48. There is snow, though, on the way later in the week. Clear skies tonight with a low near 28. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 61. And then Wednesday, we're going to be around that 60-degree mark again. Then that cold front will move through. Possibly some snow and ice. More on that in just a moment. 22 degrees right now in Columbia. It's 21 in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour.
8400 block of Richland.
510 Boone County, shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, 1033.
1020 Boone County, start medics this way, start medics.
Received.
That is the sound of the radio call from the Boone County Joint Communications from Sunday morning's deadly deputy-involved shooting incident. That sound courtesy of our news partner, KMIZ, and Hannah Falcon, the reporter there. The Boone County Sheriff's Department identifies the suspect as 33-year-old Blaine Johnson. His vehicle, deputies say, was possibly connected to a kidnapping and theft of a vehicle. Deputies tried to pull Johnson's vehicle over near the Lake of the Woods on Sunday morning, but he fled. Johnson's vehicle ended up in a field near Range Line in Richland Roads. He got out there. Deputies say that Johnson displayed a weapon and that a deputy fired in response to Johnson's actions. The Missouri State Highway Patrol is now handling the investigation investigation at the request of the Boone County Sheriff's Department. Missouri Senate Majority Leader says it is time for everyone involved in this congressional redistricting debate in Jefferson City to put the best interests of the state above their own political and personal ambition. The frustrated Columbia Republican Caleb Rowden did tweet over the weekend that he is frustrated. He says, over the last several weeks, we have watched, quote, as business critical to Missouri citizens has been delayed by a small group of senators willing to send our congressional map to federal courts if they do not get districts that suit their ambition, end of quote. He's referring to the Senate Conservative Caucus. Harrisonville GOP State Senator Rick Branden, a Conservative Caucus member running for Congress, tweeted this weekend that Senator Rowden, quote, is failing miserably on all fronts and passing the blame because he is a weak moderate, end of quote. Bratton says Rowden signed up to lead all Republicans in passing a fair map for redistricting, but also in solving real issues facing Missourians. Senate met in a very rare Saturday session in Jefferson City. No agreement has been reached. Senators return to Jefferson City tomorrow afternoon. While the track and timing is still unclear, snow and ice possible in mid-Missouri on Wednesday into Thursday. Temperatures, again, will hit 60 tomorrow and Wednesday in Columbia and Jeff City. However, a low-pressure system will move in between Wednesday and Thursday. National Weather Service St. Louis meteorologist Brad Charbonneau tells the Eagle a cold front will be moving through. He emphasizes the NWS is still working to determine a track, but he says there is a potential for accumulating snow along with the possibility of sleet and ice. Federal dollars from ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, will pay for a major funding boost for daycares across Missouri. Governor Mike Parson making the announcement at Friday's Education Roundtable at Mizzou. He says daycare is one of the biggest hurdles for working families in the state and that it's crucial for families to get quality daycare to be able to stay in the workforce.
I think the other thing we learned from the pandemic, and we kind of knew before, is the hundreds of thousands of people that work shift work, the night shifts, the swing shifts of the world. You know, where a lot of things are based pretty well on those daytime hours, we got to be able to be flexible enough to make sure they have an opportunity to have daycare facilities.
That's Governor Mike Parson. He will unveil the specifics at a later date. ARPA was signed into law by President Joe Biden. And also look for stronger partnerships in the future between Mizzou here in Columbia and Jefferson City's Lincoln University. UM System President Dr. Moon Choi made that announcement at Friday's Education Roundtable with the governor. Dr. Choi tells 93.9 The Eagle the partnership with Lincoln is important because of access opportunity and completion aspect of student success.
The fact that we're the only land-grant institutions in this state, it only makes sense for us to partner, and we're going to be joined at the hips. We're going to do a lot of great things together.
It's Dr. Moon Choi, who's also calling for closer partnerships with the Columbia Area Career Center and Moberly Area Community College. CACC is part of Columbia Public Schools. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you live on this busy Monday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:07. Turning our attention now to sports. Stan Kroenke was on national television last night at the podium accepting the Lombardi Trophy after the Rams are the Super Bowl champions. They rallied from behind, beating Cincinnati last night in L.A., basically a home game for L.A., 23-20. The Bengals led in the fourth quarter, 20-16. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdown throws in the game. Again, the Rams win the Super Bowl 23-20. Against the Bengals. Our sports brought to you this hour by Betts. For gifts that last a lifetime, visit Betts. They're in downtown Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:08. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Our temperature right now, 23 degrees. And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads right now are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
pursuit 8400 block of Richland.
5720 Boone County, shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, 1033.
1020 Boone County, start medics this way, start medics.
Received.
That happened here in town yesterday. Officer-involved shooting, and apparently the story is somebody in law enforcement, they spot this guy who's apparently a suspect in a kidnapping case. So deputies go to effect a traffic stop. Brian Lear, Captain Brian Lear with the Boone County Sheriff's Department picks it up from there.
This is originally, it stems to a city investigation that they're working. Our deputy recognizes a suspect vehicle associated with that case. Initiated a traffic stop in the Lake of the Woods area. Unfortunately, the suspect did not stop.
So they take off, and they end up, in effect, on the other side of town.
Yeah, basically where it ended up is Richland and Rangeline roads. And that would be just outside the city limits. Of course, it started at Lake of the Woods in a field, basically, Branden. And based on the comments from, and obviously and that people can find this on the Boone County Sheriff's Department Facebook page as well. Tried to pull Johnson's vehicle over. He flees, ends up in a field near Rangeline in Richland, gets out. According to deputies, displays a weapon, and the deputy fired in response to Johnson's actions. You heard one of the deputies there calling for medics immediately, and Johnson pronounced dead at the scene. Highway Patrol handling the investigation. There is a booking photo of Johnson from apparently a previous arrest on January the 17th, but yes. And Highway Patrol now handling that.
And I want to play this radio call again, and here's why, because... And I used to be kind of like this, too. I would think if I were a cop and somebody getting ready to shoot me and I shoot you first, I'm going to pat myself on the back and I'm going to brag about it. As I've gotten older, I've evolved. I think regardless of whatever circumstances are, to take another human life, that's got to be a pretty profound thing. And you can hear the adrenaline, everything else going on in this call.
Pursuit 8400 block of Richland.
5720 Boone County, shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, 1033.
1020 Boone County, start medics this way, start medics.
Received.
Start medics this way, start medics this way. So you can hear adrenaline, and maybe it hasn't even sunk in the gravity of what has just taken place. Just, wow. And these guys, men and women, any agency of law enforcement, whether it's Callaway County, Jefferson City, the Capitol Police, Columbia City Police, you know, I'm thinking this deputy, he went out yesterday. You don't know how your day's going to end up. Probably left, gave the kids and wife a hug and took off and goes to work. And next thing you know, you're involved. And by the way, sharp work that somebody was able to recognize this guy, then try to effect a traffic stop. But, man,
it's broad daylight, too, at 10:30 in the morning. I mean, and being alert right there on the highway to be able to see that and recognize it so quickly, that's a big deal. You're right.
Sent a text this morning to Boone County Sheriff Dwayne Carey. I said, hey, we just wanted you to know that everybody here on Wake Up Columbia, and probably a lot of folks here in the community, thinking about you guys and everybody in law enforcement, and said, hey, if you guys need anything, let us know. And he says, sends along a nice note. And I also want to highlight the 911 dispatcher, the work those folks do. Last month, I got to go and tour the Boone County Emergency Operations Center, which is what a spectacular facility this is. I mean, like, if we get some serious tornadoes or imagine the worst case scenario, not just weather-wise, but anything that could happen here. As a matter of fact, one of the times they stand up, when it put it into partial operation was during BLM protest in, I think, 2019. They were in downtown right by, and of course, that's the one where I was assaulted and called racial epithets and all that. They stood up for that night, because it was that close to the police station, and they knew how bad those BLM protesters, they know what they did. They stood up that emergency operations center for that, partially just to be ready. But got to talk to some of these 911 dispatchers. The work they do, they're always dealing. I mean, this dispatcher, you can hear how cool, calm, and collected she is. She's dealing with a guy who has just been a part of, or at the very least, has witnessed somebody dying, somebody who's just been in a high-speed chase that went almost from the easternmost part of town that you can get to, almost about the westernmost part of town that you can get, and the work these 911 dispatchers do. Just astounding.
Well, and we talk a lot about the defund the police movement, how horrible it's been, but we don't talk about how it's affected dispatchers. I heard a little bit this weekend about how long some of these 911 dispatches are taking because the police forces aren't as fully staffed as they once were. So imagine being a dispatcher and having to stay on the phone with someone, or knowing that because of defund the police, you don't have as many police to dispatch as quickly to some of these situations. It has to be high stress, and I can imagine over the last 2 years, just even more high stress.
By the way, 13 police officers in a 24-hour period over the weekend, 13 police officers across the nation wounded while on duty, 2 shot fatally. And you have people like our 1st District Congresswoman Cori Bush, defund the police, defund the police. How many officers does she have on her security detail?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Nancy Pelosi, and I think Nancy Pelosi's full of crap here, but Nancy Pelosi calling out Cori Bush.
Well, with all the respect in the world for Cori Bush, that is not the position of the Democratic Party. Community safety, to protect and defend in every way, is our oath of office.
She's full of crap. She's on board with defund the police. I know she
They're
is.
just nervous about the midterms. They're like, we believe defund the police, just don't say it out loud.
Yeah. And you can see, just Steph, to your point, man, they're dropping mask mandates left every time a new poll. And by the way, we have some very interesting polling numbers again, and I love the direction these polls are taking, because it's not just about approval rating for the president. I mean, these polls, and it's CNN, I'll tell you, who's working really, they're forming some very interesting questions and eliciting some surprising answers. We'll do some pole dancing this morning coming up at 6:50. But these 911 dispatchers here at this Boone County Emergency Operations Center, I heard some of the stories. They talk about they're dealing with people, and obviously one of the most vulnerable moments in their life, and they've got to remain cool, calm, and collective. They have to present calmness and confidence to whoever it is that's calling 911. And then while they're doing that, they have to be able to, okay, where are we going? What do we need? Do we need EMT? Do we need police, fire? Do we need all of the above? They have decompression rooms for these operators, for these 911 operators. So like after a shift or after a particularly harrowing call, they can go into these rooms and they have like recliners. You can shut the lights out. They have like things to take out your frustration on. It's remarkable. Wow. So if you or somebody you know is a 911 dispatcher or has ever been one, much respect for what it is that you do. Welcome to the show. It's Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell is here.
Good morning.
We're going to have some highlights. Big takeaway real quick from the Lincoln Days event in St. Charles County over the weekend.
High tensions?
High tensions. It was right between some of the politicians. Billy Long, I think, is mad at us. Well, mad at
you?
Yeah, he's not mad at me, but
I hope the high tension wasn't between Branden and Stephanie.
Oh, no.
Somewhere I've got, so Stephanie's recording some of this, and there's a part where somebody's talking about something during the Senate forum. It wasn't a debate, by the way, which Eric Schmidt says he won. It wasn't a debate.
It was a forum, yeah. There wasn't, they were told early on, don't address each other, and there was some subtweeting. Essentially, where they were talking about each other without really naming names. But yeah, they wanted to get through a lot of the issues, and they really did. They talked about 7 or 8 separate topics, and you really did kind of get a feel for the candidates on those issues.
It was well run. As a matter of fact, I spoke with former Speaker of the House Tim Jones yesterday, who moderated this. We're going to be featuring some of the conversation that we had with him yesterday. Regarding some of the topics to get to, but yeah, the Senate forum, that was interesting. Billy Long is mad at us. Remember, guys, we win as a team, we lose as a team.
This member of the team wasn't even there, so I feel like I should be excluded this one time.
I'll tell you what happened. Coming up at 6:35, we'll do that here on 93.9 The Eagle.
Well, I'm here to tell you this morning that I've made up my mind.
Josh Hawley. showing up Friday night, and then just shortly before this Senate forum, the 2022 U.S. Senate Candidate Forum, you had 4 people on stage: McCloskey, Vicky Hartzler, Eric Schmidt, and Billy Long. So shortly before that happens, Josh Hawley comes out and says, I have made up my mind. Who is it that he is endorsing? Maybe we can drop that in your daily DC rundown. Yeah, I think we'll do it there. We'll find out who it is that Josh Hawley is endorsing for that race. And then the Super Bowl last night, of course, we'll get to that. Everybody bummed that Stan Kroenke won.
A little.
I love this. How much the Bengals think about this. Here's the reality of our NFL season as Chiefs fans. The Bengals disappointed us twice in 2 weeks. They beat our Chiefs, and they couldn't beat Stan Kroenke and the Rams. Highlights from that and the commercials and reaction to the halftime show. I know a lot of folks talking about that. Halftime show, it was fine. I like some of the old Mary J. Blige stuff because you're getting into late 90s, early 2000s, and some of the old stuff from Dre and Snoop Dogg. I thought that stuff was fine. And Eminem kneeling and all that. I always, whatever, Number one, are you surprised? It's just not that big of a deal in my book. Anyway, so we'll get into some of that coming up 6:35. Incidentally, Nancy Pelosi mentioning Cori Bush there. I got to hear an interview with Andrew Jones, Christopher Arps and Tim Jones doing a radio show in St. Louis. Spoke with a guy by the name of Andrew Jones. He is running against Cori Bush in that first congressional district race as a Republican. And he had some interesting things to say about messaging as far as because he's going after Republicans and we're stereotyping. He's going after a community that typically does not vote Republicans. All those highlights coming up for you this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Daily DC Rundown. We're going to find out who it is that Hawley endorsed. What else is interesting in there this morning?
Well,
Get it serviced and I get it maintained at Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. You looked at the car market recently? My goodness. I would right now, as much as I would love to get a new vehicle, I'm very content and confident, by the way, because I take my car to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. I have no worries about what's happening to my car because I go to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. They say, hey, here's what you should be doing. You have X number of miles, and I haven't had a car payment for several years, and my car, it runs well because it's regularly maintained at Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. They're in Columbia and in Boonville.
Hi, this is Henry, and I'm Brandon's dad. My favorite show on 93.9 The Eagle is The Gary Nolan Show.
Donald Trump is the most consequential Republican in the Republican Party today. He has a great chance of being president again in 2024 if he'll start comparing what he did as president versus what's going on now.
So Lindsey Graham brings up an interesting point. If Trump does run in 2024, what does that do to Hawley? We know he's going to run in 2024, maybe 2028. By the way, Hawley making an endorsement for the 2022 U.S. Senate race. We'll have that coming up at 6:35. Right now, I want to get to some other stuff in the Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell.
Lindsey Graham is also allegedly at the among a handful of Republicans that have declared their willingness to break party lines and vote for Biden's yet-to-be-announced Supreme Court nominee. Dick Durbin was commenting that the list of Republicans that might join this quote, bipartisan effort is longer than you would imagine, but he wasn't exactly naming names. Again, Biden has said he's going to make that nomination by the end of February, and Democrats are hopeful that they will have bipartisan support. With the way that they behaved with the last several picks, I find that really hard to believe.
And I'm wondering too. So listen, whoever it is they're going to go through. They're going to be confirmed. So do you just say, you know what, it's going to happen, and you know what, as a Republican, I am going to vote to confirm because it's a losing cause anyway, and I can hang my hat on, hey, look, see, this was a bipartisan confirmation. Look, we approved her.
I think you're a little bit playing Pollyanna this morning. I don't know. I don't have
really, why would you do it any other way? Why would you vote against? Again, to say, well, see, look, I voted against that. It's a losing cause.
If someone wants to challenge you in the future, then they can say, hey, look,
right,
you voted for Biden's nominee. How conservative are you really if you're going to vote for that nominee? So, I mean, there's reasons why
on both
people.
Sides,
yeah. So, interestingly, all eyes are still right now on Russia and Ukraine. One person in particular, I guess a teacher at Northwestern University, said the next 10 days are critical. But you can see that the frequency of the contact is increased and is ongoing. So I guess there was a phone call between Biden and Putin on Saturday. Then on Sunday, Biden was talking to Ukraine's president. There's a lot of activity, and everyone's just waiting to see what happens. Also, we have, I don't know that we have enough time, but this whole Trump and spying, and now Trump's being vindicated. The Durham report, they're talking about Russia collusion. And I guess the latest is that in the Durham filing is that there is some evidence to support lawyers from Hillary Clinton's campaign would you call it spying?
I don't know. We'll get more into that coming up at 6:50 here on 93.9 The Eagle. And the other thing we're doing coming up here, 6:35, Josh Hawley here in state the other day.
Well, I'm here to tell you this morning that I've made up my mind.
He's made an endorsement. Who is it? He's made an endorsement in that 2022 U.S. Senate race. We'll have that for you coming up at 6:35.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl, beating Cincinnati.
Bengals led 20-16 late in the fourth quarter when the Rams put together their longest drive of the game, 15 plays that ended with the go-ahead score.
Pass. Got it. Touchdown.
On NBC, second touchdown for Cooper Kupp. The Bengals got to the Rams' 49-yard line, but on 4th down and 1, Joe Burrow threw an incomplete pass, and the Rams held on to win 23-20.
Fox's Jared Max. The Russian figure skating star Kamila Valieva is cleared to continue competing at the Olympics, but will not take part in any medal ceremonies. She failed the drug test in December.
The Court of Arbitration for Sport has ruled there are exceptional circumstances. Its Director General, Mathieu Riebe.
The athlete is under 16 and is a protected person under the World Anti-Doping Code.
It means Valieva can compete in the singles figure skating beginning tomorrow.
Fox's Simon Owen. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:31 right now. We have 22 degrees in Columbia. We're expecting bright sunshine. Today's high around 48. Clear tonight, low near 28. Tomorrow is sunny with a high of 61, and then there's a chance of some snow, maybe ice, Wednesday into Thursday. Timing on this, though, very, very unclear, and so is the amount. We'll have more on that in a moment. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Cole County's prosecutor says charges will not be filed against a St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter.
Cole County's prosecutor will not charge a St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter who exposed a state database flaw that allowed public access to thousands of teachers' Social Security numbers. Cole County Prosecutor Locke Thompson released a statement late last week saying there is an argument to be made there was a violation of the law. And he also said the issues at heart of the investigation have been resolved through a non-legal means. John Marsh, 93.9, The Eagle.
John, thank you. Meantime, here in Columbia, Missouri State Troopers have identified a suspect killed in Sunday morning's incident near East Columbia. A deadly officer-involved shooting. The person shot, 37-year-old Blaine Johnson of Columbia. He was the suspect in another case. The incident ending at a field near Rangeline and Richland Roads. It happened about 10:30 a.m. when a deputy saw a vehicle in the Lake of the Woods area possibly connected to a kidnapping. The Boone County Sheriff's Department says a deputy tried to stop the vehicle. Johnson did not pull over, deputies say. A pursuit began, ending in that field. Deputies say an armed Johnson got out of the vehicle, fled on foot, displaying a weapon. The Sheriff's Department says the deputy fired in response. That Johnson was struck by gunfire and died at the scene. The Highway Patrol is now handling that investigation. Missouri Senate remains in a stalemate over the controversial issue of congressional redistricting. Senate met on Lincoln's birthday Friday, a state holiday, and a very rare Saturday session as a filibuster by the Senate Conservative Caucus continues. They want a 7-1 Missouri GOP map. It's already been rejected by the Senate, a bipartisan 24-8 vote. Senators don't return to Jefferson City until tomorrow afternoon. While temperatures are expected to reach 60 degrees tomorrow and Wednesday in Columbia and Jefferson City, a cold front will move in Wednesday. It could bring snow and or ice. National Weather Service St. Louis meteorologist Brad Charbonneau tells 93.9 The Eagle a low-pressure system will move into the region between Wednesday and Thursday. Widespread rain first. Charbonneau says the NWS is still determining the track. Timing unclear. Keep the radio tuned right here to 93.9 The Eagle for updated forecast information. Kevin Schneider says we will definitely receive snow. The question right now is how much, and we don't know that, and we don't know the timing as well. And saying that demand for testing is declining, MU Healthcare is reducing its hours at the COVID test collection site on Columbia's North Keene. That'll start today. The new hours from 8 a.m. until noon, 7 days a week. Site is located inside Women's Hospital. It offers test collection for those with known exposure, mild symptoms, or those who need a travel test. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you this hour by Mid-America Mortgage. Check them out online, midamericamortgage.us, and apply now for a loan on your dream home. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:34. In sports, the Los Angeles Rams are the Super Bowl champions after rallying from behind. They beat Cincinnati in Los Angeles last night. Final score there, 23-20. Bengals led 20-16 in the fourth quarter. Basically, it was a home game for the Rams at SoFi Stadium there. The Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown throws in the game. College hoops, Mizzou men's basketball team now 10-14 on the year. They beat Ole Miss 70-66 Saturday night, Mizzou Arena in Columbia. 7th annual rally for Ryan game. Mizzou raising $52,000 at this game. That'll be split up. So half of that will go to pediatric cancer research, and the other half will go to help MU Health's new children's hospital. Brad Luce tweeting that hospital has done so much for their family and also for Ryan. So they split that about $26,000 a piece, $52,000 overall raised. Just an amazing night. Ronnie DeGray II, Javon Pickett leading Mizzou. They had 14 points apiece. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:35. And our traffic check, midmohires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Midmohires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads right now are quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
I texted out. 7 and 1 makes 8. 6 and 2 makes no sense, especially in a state that's getting redder and redder and redder every single year.
Congressman Billy Long, Saturday, St. Charles, Lincoln Days. Senate panel, 2022 U.S. Senate panel, talking about redistricting. That was the question. Obviously, it's a big issue, and I guess they're still in the Missouri Senate, and there's another rally tomorrow, and people are going to go and pray and hope they get a 7-1.
You know, I don't know about prayer tomorrow, Brandon, but I'll tell you there very well may be part of it. That was a big part of the earlier rally. But yes, the Senate is basically in a stalemate right now. And two very quick points. Number one, the Senate has met over the years every once in a while on a Saturday. I remember one year they went on Mother's Day and I had to go cover that because they did not have a budget. I'm confident in saying this. I've never seen the Senate on a Saturday in session in February. It just doesn't happen. Number two, and people can find this and take a look at it, take a look at the Twitter feed of Senator Caleb Browden and take a look at the Twitter feed of Senator Rick Branden. And I think it speaks for itself. Yeah. There is tension. Rick Branden, referring to the majority leader, Caleb Browden, is a weak moderate and putting quote-unquote leader in quotation marks. And Rowden frustrated with what's happening at the conservative caucus. But if you read, and you've read this, Brandon, Rowden is also frustrated that members of Congress are apparently getting involved in this as well. And he said hopefully they can kind of take a deep breath, come back tomorrow. But I don't know. If you look at the conservative caucus tweets, these folks coming to the rally tomorrow are prepared to be there a long time. I'm wondering. So let's say Caleb said, okay, we're going to put it, let's vote. How is that vote going to go down? Right now, it would probably stay the same, probably 24-8 against 7-1. But in that, to your point, the conservative caucus still has the floor. Yeah. They have the floor, and there's no indication they're going to give that up. So at some point, does he try to call the previous question? And even if he does, and I'm not saying he will, but if he does, is there enough support? The bottom line is this could drag out. As a matter of fact, we were going through the tweets yesterday from Onder and Eigel, and we were sitting here and we're watching the Caleb Browden ones, and it's something else. And it's funny because you get to name calling as we're seeing. And listen, here's my thing, and don't be mad. I just got to be honest with you. If people keep saying Missouri's a red state, it should be 7-1. Well, if you're going to say that, you look at the percentages, and if you go by the 2020 election, it should be a 5-3 map. If you're going to say it's got to be representative of Missouri, if you're going by those numbers. And I agree with Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler and what she said over the weekend at this U.S. Senate candidate forum.
Well, I am not privy to all the data and to see all the numbers, but here's my position. We ought to try to get as conservative as a map as possible. And if it is possible to get 7-1 without jeopardizing it in a Democratic election year, we should go for it. If it's going to jeopardize it, maybe we should think about it. But I appreciate asking those questions and looking at that data. We've got to fire Nancy Pelosi.
Schmidt and Long and McCloskey, when asked the same question, 6-2 or 7-1, they're 7-1, 7-1, 7-1. Vicky Hartzler, in my opinion, gave the most sensible answer. What do you think, 7-1, 6-2?
Well, where do I think we will actually end up?
What do you think we should?
What do I think we should?
Are you being Pollyanna about this, Steph?
I mean, I'm more concerned about, how we move on and how this gets done. And I think, no, I am. And I think.
Are you a politician? You're not answering the question. I
do think. I think it's interesting that all four of the candidates on Saturday said 7-1 because what we know is, and Hartzler kind of hedged that, but basically said 7-1 because what we know right now is the support among in the Senate. I mean, the House just passed the 6-2 map, and the Senate, there isn't support for a 7-1 map. But again, the folks that were talking on stage on Saturday don't have to vote on this thing. So, they can say 7-1 and I think, anyway, so I think, and then some people are pointing out that they're looking at people's votes from past when the maps were redrawn and what they supported then. Although Missouri has changed pretty significantly since then. I don't know that their opinions. I know it's being touted by the conservative caucus. Hey, everyone wants a 7-1 that was on the stage, but I don't know how that changes anything for Tuesday.
Yeah, those people on the stage aren't voting in the Senate.
And one real quick point, too, and that's a great point, but if you look at the Senate Conservative Caucus's tweet, this is why I don't think they're going to give up the floor, because the filibuster will continue. They're calling it two things. No more rhinos. Missouri Rhino Watch, that's the head of this freedom convoy to Jeff City, and they indicate truckers will be involved. But there's two notes, as they call this the freedom convoy. This will be tomorrow. The gathering will start at 10, rally at noon. One main point on the right side of this, Brandon and Stephanie, be prepared to stay for the long haul, exclamation point. On the other side, bring warm clothes, blankets, food, water, everything you need. That leads me to believe that they're prepared to be down there for several days, leading me to believe Moon in the Conservative Caucus, and you've got 6 or 7, if they take turns, they theoretically could hold the floor for as long as they want, unless the Senate leadership tries to cut it off, and I don't know that they have the votes.
Yeah, so okay, give up the floor and let them vote on it again. See how that goes. Welcome to the show, Wake Up Columbia. Where do we find you on Twitter, Steph?
Stephanie S. Bell.
And I am at Brian on the air.
Hannah_producer.
At Rathert Branden. Hannah's done something really cool. If you watch on our YouTube channel, 93.9 The Eagle, she's made it so that our Twitter handles are up there. So I did a poll. I did a Twitter poll. I'm just like...
You did a Twitter poll?
I did a Twitter poll.
Wow.
Let me see.
Well, get on there and place your vote. I asked, of the 4 candidates that took part in this forum over the weekend, and the 4 that took part, Hartzler, Long, Schmidt, and McCloskey, who are you liking right now? Small sample size, and it's moved around a little bit. But I think some interesting results. And again, I'm going to go back to it's fairly small sample size right now. But I'm always think, okay, maybe a little bit of insight in these things. So that's the question. Of those 4 candidates that took part in this Senate forum over the weekend, who are you liking? Right now, Vicky Hartzler is leading. We're going to have more highlights. Eric Schmidt said something that I thought was pretty interesting during this forum. And this was, of course... This was after big news was made. Hawley came in. His wife apparently gave a phenomenal speech Friday night.
Yes, I did not attend the speech, but yeah, I hear it was really good. Talked a lot about the Roe decision in the courts and issues facing Missourians right now.
So not too long before this candidate forum started, and it wasn't a debate. And there were, as a matter of fact, a couple of sly digs. McCloskey said, we have people in Congress that haven't been able to undo Obamacare. Backhanded jab at Vicky and Billy, obviously. So there were a couple of those things going on. And I do want to give Billy Long some credit here. He complimented Mark McCloskey on, and I can't remember what, and he complimented Eric Schmidt on going after these schools that are against freedom, these schools that want you to do what they want you to do, even though they don't believe in it, like we saw in the Super Bowl yesterday. All those celebrities and the political leaders at the game. Here's the thing. Yeah, they technically don't have the choice. There's a mask mandate there. But they're telling us how the masks work, and you need to wear the mask, and they don't wear them. So is what that tells you. They lie, and they don't believe. They're telling you wear the mask, and then they're looking at their friends. Pelosi's looking at Gavin Newsom, and they're going, look at what they're doing.
I saw a lot of pictures. I don't think I saw any masks.
No. Celebrities, politicians, so they don't believe in the mask. They know for a fact they do not work as well as they think. It's control. It's like being in a sick relationship. Really, anybody who's been in a relationship where somebody's very controlling, that is a sick relationship, and that's what these progressives are about. We want to control you. You do what we're not going to do it. It's sick. Truly sick. So before these candidates get up on the stage, the 4 of them taking part, before they get up on stage, Hawley announces who it is that he's endorsing in the 2022 U.S. Senate race.
Vicky is someone who I am confident has the integrity. She has the character. She's got the toughness to do this job.
Josh Hawley endorsing Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. It's interesting because the Congresswoman was on the show Thursday, and Stephanie and I were off air. We were talking about, you get press releases from your Congress people, and 2, maybe even 3 weeks in a row, the press releases that we were getting from the Congresswoman mentioned the name of one
Josh Hawley.
And so we could kind of see, and I think that was to an extent, that was some of the scope of our recent conversations with her over the past couple. Hey, you're working with Holly on trying to ban insider trading in Congress, what have you. So I don't think that big of a surprise. Congressman Billy Long was asked afterwards, hey, like, what's your reaction to this? And basically is what Mr. Long said. He says, it's no surprise. I guess she's hired the same people that helped Josh get there.
Yeah, a lot of people are speculating, what kind of impact would this endorsement have? And does it actually impact the potential for a Trump endorsement? Because, people have been speculating that Trump might get in. And, we know Trump has been doing some dual endorsements. But now people, I think the word on the street is that, he probably wouldn't endorse somebody that's not Vicky because he wouldn't go against Holly. But then again, the other word on the street is you never know what Trump's going to do. So, does he stay out? Does he also get in? And then, what does that Holly endorsement do for her in the next time we see some poll numbers?
We're going to talk about some of the commercials in the Super Bowl. To me, they seem one of the best commercials I saw last night in the Super Bowl. It was a commercial for a local car dealership. Did you see that?
I did.
I was like, and that's local. That was for Drewing Automotive. That was in my opinion. Now, it didn't have, obviously, the production value and all the pizzazz, but it was creative and it caught your attention. We'll highlight that. Some of the other things that happened at the Super Bowl last night here on 93.9 The Eagle. We're going to go pole dancing here at 6:53, and I'll tell you, and I hate to give kudos to CNN, but, I will always be honest, and when they deserve kudos, they deserve kudos. And what they deserve kudos for this morning is some of this polling that they're doing. And not because it's showing what everybody knows already, that Biden is just really probably, at least in my lifetime, the most ineffectual leader ever. So CNN, instead of asking approval ratings and things like that, they've been kind of going a little bit deeper. We saw the one last week where even CNN's John King was talking. They asked the question, okay, we know that Biden's approved. Nobody approves of the job that Biden is doing. And if you still approve of his job, I feel very bad for you. And there is help. You can call 1-800-GET-HELP if you're really that bummed out about it. There's seriously help out there for you. What was I saying?
Get help.
Get help before that.
Kudos to CNN.
To CNN. So the polling they're doing. So they asked this question last week. Okay, we know the approval ratings are low. What do you like about Joe Biden? What was it, 56%, which included Democrats said
nothing really.
Not a thing. And they continue some more interesting polling. We'll do some pole dancing coming up at 6:53 here on 93.9 The Eagle. Let's wake up Columbia.
People are talking about Branden Rathert.
He's an outstanding man, and I'm sure that he'll do very well. I think he's just outstanding.
This is Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
That's not what I was told, the president said. Not what he was told.
Jake Tapper going after Joe Biden again, specifically regarding some comments. There's reports coming out of Afghanistan and talking about how badly we messed up, saying, well, here's what happened. And Joe Biden, well, I wasn't told. And Jake Tapper, CNN, saying, I'm just not buying it, man, at all. And that brings us to some pole dancing here on 93.9 The Eagle. Let's start with, Trump numbers or Dem voters regarding Biden in 2024?
Dem voters.
Dem voters, 2024. So, and this is a CNN poll, by the way. GOP voters split down the middle on a Trump bid. So that's kind of interesting. Most Democratic voters do not want Joe Biden to run in 2024. It's like Steve says via text at 874-9390. It's like Jimmy Carter, at least in our lifetimes that we know of, worst president of all time. He does great work nowadays, Habitat for Humanity. But when he was president, worst, most ineffectual president of all time. Joe Biden got to the Oval Office, and before he took a nap, he said, hold my beer and watch this, Jimmy. And he's succeeding.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new poll out, and they're talking about 2024, and if you were to vote in 2024, who would you support? And I guess among all people, 41% vote for Biden, 41% vote for Trump. But the interesting thing is they do this thing called crosstabs, and so they said if you didn't vote, and you keep talking about independent voters, people who didn't vote, who would you vote for? So among the group that did not vote in 2020, 34% said they would vote for Trump, 14% for Biden. So Trump's numbers double that of Biden.
Man, and that's some of your pole dancing. Interesting numbers this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Commercials last night in the Super Bowl, fine. I wonder if our expectations are too high anymore. But I got to tell you, I don't know if you saw this. I would love to get your reaction if you happen to see it. It was one for a local dealership, Drewing Automotive. Did you see that one, Hannah?
I did. It made me chuckle.
What is it that made you chuckle?
It was just funny. I don't know. It was two old ladies sitting there, and they're talking about the new model that they have in store. And, they really like the frame and the rear end on it. And there is a male employee hanging some shirts up on a rack.
Kind of a good-looking dude.
Yeah, and, you're kind of led to believe that they're talking about this dude. And he, at the very end of the commercial, he moves out of frame, and they're really talking about the car behind him.
And didn't she say is something, man, wouldn't you like to just hop on that?
Take it for a spin.
Take it for a spin. Look at that rear end. Yeah, but look at that front end, too. It's not too shabby. I'm serious. To me, that was really the best commercial in the Super Bowl. Maybe Uber Eats. The commercial
Uber Not Eats.
Uber Not Eats, where people are eating stuff that isn't food. Gwyneth Paltrow, who has an odd line of products, including products that are scented like female body parts. She has candles that are scented like female body parts. And she's holding a jar you can't see, but you know what it is. And she takes a bite of it and says, tastes strange. Coming up 6:10, more highlights from this weekend's Lincoln Days.
Rams are going to Disneyland. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, the day after winning the Super Bowl.
That game today's the story of our season. You know, it's up and down, it's tough, and we're a freaking tough team. Showed up late and got it done. I'm excited.
Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford on NBC Sports. He connected with Cooper Kupp late in the game on what ended up to be the winning score.
Pass. Got it. Touchdown.
The Los Angeles defense stuffed Cincinnati in the final minute, and the Rams beat the Bengals 23-20. A Russian figure skater under scrutiny for a failed pre-Olympic drug test will be allowed to keep competing in Beijing tomorrow after a court of arbitration for sport ruling, though there won't be any medal ceremonies for anything she wins. Congressional leaders will get a briefing this morning on Ukraine as they keep considering Russian sanctions. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson's in Kyiv.
I spoke to a member of the Ukrainian parliament. He says that if Russia launches that invasion, martial law will likely be declared here in Ukraine. Now, President Biden spoke to Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday. The White House says, quote, the two leaders agreed on the importance of continuing to pursue diplomacy and deterrence in response to Russia's military buildup in Ukraine's borders.
3 white men, already guilty of murdering Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, are close to going on trial again, this time accused of a hate crime. Fox's Evan Brown's on the case live.
Yeah, Dave, this time Gregory and Travis McMichael and their neighbor William Bryan will face a federal judge and jury on charges of violating Ahmaud Arbery's civil rights by targeting him on account of race. A Georgia state court already convicted the 3 for killing Arbery, who jogged through their neighborhood near the city of Brunswick. They had claimed they believed Arbery was trespassing. Many of the same witnesses could testify again, though there will be no live streaming as federal courts prohibit cameras, Dave.
Evan and Minnesota prosecutors plan to wrap up their case today against 3 fired police officers accused of violating George Floyd's civil rights in his much-protested 2020 death. America's listening to Fox News.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03, 22 right now in Columbia. It's 21 degrees in Jefferson City. We're expecting a high today of around 48, and we know that snow, it could be on the way later this week, so the temperatures here are going to be a little misleading. We're going to get very warm and then cooled down about drastically later in the week. Low tonight, 28, clear skies. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 61. Again, 22 right now in Columbia. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour.
5-2, 8400 block of Richland.
5-7-20 Boone County, shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, 1033.
10-20 Boone County, start medics this way, start medics.
Received.
That is the sound of the radio call from Boone County Joint Communications Sunday morning. The deadly deputy-involved shooting incident. That sound courtesy of our news partner, KMIZ. The Boone County Sheriff's Department says the vehicle was possibly connected to a kidnapping and the theft of a vehicle. Deputies tried to pull the suspect's vehicle over 37-year-old Blaine Johnson near the Lake of the Woods on Sunday morning about 10:30, but he fled in the vehicle. That vehicle ending up in a field near Rangeline and Richland Roads where he got out. Deputies say that Johnson displayed a weapon after he got out and that a deputy fired in response to Johnson's actions. The Missouri State Highway Patrol is now handling the investigation at the request of the Boone County Sheriff's Department. Meantime, in Jefferson City, Missouri Senate Majority Leader says it is time for everyone involved in the congressional redistricting debate to put the best interests of the state above their own personal and political ambition. Those words from a frustrated Columbia Republican, Caleb Branden, who tweeted over the weekend that over the last several weeks, quote, "We have watched as business critical to Missouri citizens has been delayed by a small group of senators willing to send our congressional map to federal courts if they do not get the districts that suit their ambition," end of quote. He is referring to the Senate Conservative Caucus, and the Senate Conservative Caucus has been filibustering in Jefferson City. They'll continue that tomorrow. Harrisonville GOP State Senator Rick Branden, who's a Conservative Caucus member who's running for the Congress, tweeted this weekend that Senator Rowden, quote, "is failing miserably on all fronts and passing the blame because he is a weak moderate," end of quote. Branden says Rowden signed up to lead all Republicans in passing a fair map for redistricting, but also in solving real issues facing Missourians. Senate did meet in a very rare Saturday session in Jefferson City. No agreement has been reached. Senators do return to Jefferson City tomorrow afternoon. While the National Weather Service is still unclear right now about the track, snow is possible in mid-Missouri and the Columbia area on Wednesday into Thursday morning.
Temperatures should hit 60 degrees tomorrow and Wednesday in Columbia and Jefferson City, but a low-pressure system moves in between Wednesday and Thursday. National Weather Service St. Louis meteorologist Brad Charbonneau tells 93.9 The Eagle that a cold front will be moving through. He emphasizes that the NWS is still working to determine the track, but says there's a potential for accumulating snow, along with the possibility of sleet and ice. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
Don, thank you. In Columbia on Friday, it was announced that federal dollars from ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, signed by President Biden, will be paying for daycare booths in Missouri. Governor Parson making that announcement at the Education Roundtable at Mizzou. He says daycare is one of the biggest hurdles right now facing working families in the state, and says it's crucial for families to get quality daycare to be able to stay in the workforce. Look for stronger partnerships in the future between Mizzou and Jefferson City's Lincoln University. UM System President Dr. Moon Choi making that announcement at Friday's Education Roundtable with the governor. Dr. Choi tells 93.9 The Eagle the partnership with Lincoln is crucial because of access opportunity and completion aspect of student success.
The fact that we're the only land-grant institutions in the state, it only makes sense for us to partner, and we're going to be joined at the hips. We're going to do a lot of great things together.
It's Dr. Choi speaking to 93.9 The Eagle. And Columbia School Board expected to approve a $43,000 change order aimed at improving traffic around Rockbridge High School at their meeting tonight. The change order involves the Peachtree Connector driveway. CPS spokeswoman Michelle Baumstark tells 93.9 The Eagle the Peachtree Connector is aimed at helping ease school-related traffic. She notes the project has been in the works for years. CPS is excited, she says, to have the project underway. The change order will also involve curb and drainage issues. They'll add 3 speed tables at Rockbridge. Speed tables are essentially traffic calming devices. The board will be meeting tonight at 6:30 at their headquarters on West Worley Street. Our news is brought to you this hour on this Valentine's Day by the folks at the Candy Factory. You can join them and give your sweetie the sweetest of gifts this Valentine's Day. Be part of Columbia's oldest, sweetest tradition. It's the Candy Factory, online at thecandyfactoryonline.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:07. In sports, the Los Angeles Rams are the Super Bowl champions. They beat Cincinnati last night in Los Angeles, 23-20. The Bengals actually led this game into the fourth quarter, 20-16. Very workmanlike, if you will. Burrow, 1 touchdown throw in the game. Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdown throws in the game, including game winner late in the game, and the Rams do win it by a score of 23-20. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:08. All right, Kevin, thank you. Our sunrise this morning at 7:04 here in Columbia, 22 degrees. Traffic check, midmohires.com. Local companies looking for local people at 7:09, 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
I have a yeah.
Welcome into the show, 93.9 The Eagle. It's Wake Up Columbia. Glad you could be here. Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, and there is Hannah, the producer. For those, if you watched Super Bowl yesterday, Ad Meter has come out with, they came out with the commercial that they thought had won the entire thing, and it was Rocket Mortgage. Anybody see the Rocket Mortgage commercial with Anna Kendrick?
Was that?
I did not.
Was that with the Barbies, or am I thinking of something else? There was one commercial. I may have the wrong ad, though.
I don't know which one it was. The local one was Drewing Automotive. As a matter of fact, we'll have some of the audio from that. Drewing Automotive, there is one, it's a husband, I guess a husband and wife couple, and they're getting ready to pull into the garage, but you don't know that they're pulling into a garage. And he's like, do you think it'll fit? I'm like, well, I don't know. Just take it real slow. And
Why is that funny? They were talking about their garage.
Exactly. Took the horse to the water, and a bunch of people drank it based on local reaction to that last night. I think the other thing about so potentially Al Michaels, and I love Al Michaels, love to hear him call a football game, potentially his last game last night with NBC. Did anybody else get this? Like they were just kind of, it was kind of, despite that it was a close score, I mean, it was exciting, a lot of passing, but they just didn't seem really excited. I got that. I don't know if anybody else did.
I had the same kind, and I don't know if that halftime show for them, Al is really businesslike. It's obvious for that. And that takes longer than a normal halftime show, and there's a lot more people on their broadcast than there would be on a normal Sunday night, where basically Al and Chris are the stars of the show. You had a lot of other people on camera last night, and they never. It's hard to get into a rhythm when you're used to it. Maybe that had something to do with it, but overall, I see what you're saying. Maybe a little tired too. I don't know.
By the way, I want to get to this big news made this weekend in St. Charles regarding that 2022 U.S. Senate race. Stephanie and I were there in St. Charles this weekend. Holly coming out and announcing who it is he's endorsing. We'll have that, but first, so. Rusty Drewing Automotive, seriously, best commercial. Beat all the national ads, in my opinion. If you've got one better, you thought was better than that, let me know. Here's the audio. So a little bit of video setup. It's a couple, and you just see this couple. It's a tight, it's a tight shot, and it's just the two of them, and they're just talking.
So, should I just go straight in?
You think it'll fit?
Oh, you've never tried this before.
I'm nervous.
Well, you can always stop if it feels too tight.
Okay, let's try it.
You can take the horse to water. Taking the horse to the water. And then, of course, the shot opens up and they try to pull their car into the garage. Seriously, I thought that was the best one. But I thought Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, who, by the way, he played for the Cincinnati Bengals.
He did.
Back
yes, he did. Played in the Super Bowl, by the way, in 1982.
Burrow trying to keep it going, gets spun down, gets it away, and incomplete. It looked like P-Ron might have had a shot to make the grab, but the Rams now running down to celebrate with a defensive play.
I don't know. I just thought it could have been more. I mean, that was a defensive play that, in effect, it won the game. Now, you still had some time on the clock. Halftime show, a bunch of old folks upset about it, or didn't like it. I don't know if they were upset about it. They just said they didn't like it. Everything for halftime shows I will put up against Prince's appearance when he did Purple Rain. It was 2008 or 9. I think it was Colts and Bears in that Super Bowl. Any other takes on the halftime show?
I appreciated the surprise 50 Cent appearance.
Yeah.
I really liked the whole thing.
I didn't watch any of it because I get triggered by people that use the N word and the H word, so I just didn't watch it at all. Stephanie?
I watch it. I looked it up on the internet. And I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought, it was. I like the old Mary J. Blige stuff because that's
Really?
that's coming up on.
See, I thought her part was a little bit slow for me. I liked the Eminem and then the Snoop Dogg stuff.
Yeah, Eminem was pretty cool.
I liked that the whole thing was almost scaled back a little bit from, when I think of other halftime shows, it wasn't quite as flashy, and I think it actually worked out really well.
Oh, give me like the fireworks and the really like the it did seem like smaller and there weren't as many like dancers and I don't know. I like the
simplicity of it was kind of that's fun.
It felt like they were just having a block party.
There was a halftime show. Pat Summerall. I was fortunate enough before he passed away to interview him one time, and he said there was a halftime show. And by the way, oh my God, I was so intimidated to talk to him. He was amazing. He said the halftime show, I want to say in the first one or the second one, may have been the third one, but he was calling it, was a guy going, they put apparently almost sounded like a rocket, some sort of a rocket, something on his back, and he went up into the air, maybe 10 feet, and came back down. That was the halftime show. So, the Super Bowl has changed. They were always day games, if you remember.
Yeah.
They would start around noon. I remember watching the end of the Cowboys and the Steelers. I think it was when Jackie Smith dropped the pass. It was actually behind him.
Jackie Smith, former St. Louis Cardinal football player.
Yes, and that game ended in the very early evening. So a lot of it has changed. But
which can we go back to a day game or at least like the night before a holiday? Because I'm sure a lot of people at 6 a.m. this morning were like, oh, that morning.
I preferred the day games. I did. I think that I know they started at least 1 o'clock. But yeah, and I remember when the Cowboys and Steelers walked down in that field, bright sunshine.
What about moving the game to Saturday?
I support that.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. It doesn't make me. Now, back when I used to drink, I may have really been passionate about that issue, but I don't drink anymore. I don't care when the game's on. Sandy weighing in 874-9390. She says, we turned the halftime show off. We thought it was terrible. I saw a lot on Twitter. It was either love or hate. People either loved it or I don't know if people hated it. What I saw was just, it was fine.
I will say, let me figure out how to nicely say this. I saw people of all ages saying that they really enjoyed the halftime show. And on the flip side, the people that I saw saying that they hated it were all of an older generation.
You mean like 25, 26 years old?
No. I just thought that it was interesting that, there was a wide age range that really enjoyed it. And then in my, experiment of my social media, a smaller group of older people who did not like it.
By the way, on Twitter, I put so that's kind of what you're seeing on Twitter. I saw it was either that was great or it was just indifferent.
Well, and one thing that I kind of noticed what Hannah did, but also like if you just don't like a particular genre of music, that was part of the problem. Was it was basically all one genre of music, and I think it would appeal to more people if they mix it up, and that's sometimes the most fun. So like last year, I went to a concert and Ludacris opened for Sam Hunt. So like. Those are typically like two different groups of people that enjoy that kind of music. That and some people typically are like, I only like country or like I only do R&B, and most people at that concert loved them both. And I think I would have appreciated a little bit more
diversity
in the genre of music, and then I think people would have. Because I think they tend toward rock because they're like, well, that appeals to the most people. But I really enjoyed last night's show. But if they would have thrown in like a random Morgan Wallen song or something, or country song,
Morgan Wallen,
Sam Hunt, he's popular. He was the one that was supposed to be there last. But they're doing like this summer. It is a Morgan Wallen concert, and they're adding like Jelly Roll and another, like somebody else. I don't, anyway. But so the Ludacris Sam Hunt thing, though, I do think. Appealing to a broader audience of like different genres of music, because there are people out there who are just like, I don't do rap, I don't do R&B, which, for a while I was one of those people. I didn't really like country. Now it's all I listen to.
John says his favorite halftime Super Bowl show was Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Also, that's kind of the reaction we are seeing on Twitter this morning. I put on my Twitter page. By the way, you can hit me up on Twitter at Rathert Branden.
At Stephanie S. Bell.
At Brian on the Air.
At producer_Hannah.
So on my Twitter page, would love to get a tweet or a like from you, or however this thing works. A vote, something. If you're not connected with us on Twitter at Rathert Branden, put up a poll. 4 candidates. It took part of the Missouri Lincoln Days Senate candidate forum over this weekend. Stephanie and I were there, so we put up the 4 candidates in this that took part in this forum. So we've got a poll. I think we have results of that poll. We're going to do that right before we get into what's hot with Hannah. And I'll ask you, I asked former Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, who moderated the event. He and I sat down. We talked for a little bit yesterday. And my question was, I said, I don't need to know who you are liking at this point. But after seeing this forum, did it change or move the needle for you at all?
Well, I'll tell you what, with the 4 candidates we had before us, Attorney General Schmidt, the Congress folks we had there of Long and Hartzler, and Mr. McCloskey, it confirmed in my mind that we do have, as the Democratic bench has shrunk and been so decimated, the Republican bench in this state has grown wider.
And I think that's really all 4 candidates who were on stage yesterday. There's some I like more than others, but all pretty solid, really, I thought.
Yeah, and I mean, they were all well prepared, and I appreciated their different perspectives on some of the issues. I mean, I think, we have a deep bench, and that was 4 of the actual 6 candidates in the race. I had to remind people a couple of times to what Tim said about the Democrats not having a deep bench. If you recall, the auditor, the only statewide Democratic elected official, said, how many months has it been since she said, you know what, I'm not running again? They have yet to not even a single person has raised their hand, and they haven't been able to convince anyone, hey, you should run. They're just like, yeah, it's a lost cause.
4 solid candidates, and I'm the same way. It didn't change anything for me. And, of course, the big news just really minutes before that got underway, Josh Hawley, who was there, coming out and saying he is announcing Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler for that 2022 U.S. Senate race. Coming up, we're going to do What's Hot with Hannah, but want to chat with Tom real quick. Halftime show yesterday. Tom, your thoughts?
You know, that was my teenage, early 20 years. That music was out there, and I listened to just about everything at the time. I think if you would have, they were showcasing a genre of music. If you would have thrown in other stuff, I think it would have thrown the continuity of it off. You know, if they were trying to showcase L.A. music, then maybe they could have done some rap, some some punk, some surf music, and if they were doing an L.A. type showcase. But they were definitely doing a rap showcase. I don't see how anything else would have really fit into it, in my opinion.
Tom, thank you for the phone call. I loved that Dre was doing the next episode. I thought that was cool. I mean, that's some good, classic stuff, late 90s, early 2000s. Coming up.
Well, we can't skip over the fact that today is Valentine's Day. Come on.
This is Wake Up Columbia, featuring Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
time for What's Hot with Hannah.
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've put on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page just a post where I want to see you and your Valentine.
Aww.
And I want to know how you guys are celebrating, because people either go all out or don't do anything at all, and there's no in between.
About hanging out, spending time together. We don't have to go out to a restaurant and have to go out and do this. We could just stay at home and sit and watch Yellowstone and hold hands while we watch Knockout Season 3 of Yellowstone. 874. So we want to see your pictures. Go to the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. Post those. Corey, welcome into the show. I've got about 30 seconds, man. What can we do for you?
Good morning. Hey, I just wasn't sure if you guys had talked about the recovery presence that was on the stage for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Because there were several of them, at least one.
Yeah.
I know Eminem's in sobriety. Was there more?
Mary J. Blige has 11 years. Eminem has 14 years. And the other rapper, I just read this. I haven't fact checked it. That Lamar, apparently, he came from a household riddled with addiction and alcoholism, and he has pretty much broken the cycle.
Amen. Corey, thank you for that, man. Some interesting tidbit of info this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle. So Senate candidates react after Hawley endorses Hartzler. That's coming up at 7:35.
News. I'm Chris Foster. The Ambassador Bridge connecting Detroit and Windsor, Ontario is now fully reopened after police cleared out Canadian truckers protesting coronavirus rules.
Protesters started blocking the Ambassador last Monday, which led to automakers shutting down or cutting back on production at a time when the industry is struggling with supply chain issues. Pandemic restrictions have been stricter in Canada than in the U.S., but largely supported by Canadians, the vast majority of whom are vaccinated.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Top members of the House this morning and the Senate this afternoon get a briefing about the Russian troops on Ukraine's border from National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Fox's Rich Edson.
President Biden speaking with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The White House has stepped up its presentation of intelligence that officials say shows Russia is poised to invade Ukraine, though it is still unclear if Russian President Vladimir Putin has made that final call.
America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31. Right now, we do have bright sunshine here in Columbia. Going to be a nice day today. Our temperature right now is 21. Sunny, today's high 48. Clear tonight, low near 28. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 60. We'll be in the 60s again on Wednesday, and then a chance of snow and or ice. More likely snow. More on that in a moment on Wednesday, late into Thursday. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we're working on for you at this hour. Missouri State troopers have identified the suspect killed in Sunday morning's incident near East Columbia's 37-year-old Blaine Johnson of Columbia. The incident ending in a field near Rangeline and Richland Roads. It began at about 10:30 in the morning Sunday. A deputy saw a vehicle in the Lake of the Woods area that was possibly connected to a kidnapping. The Boone County Sheriff's Department says a deputy tried to stop the vehicle, but that Johnson did not pull over. A pursuit began, ending in that field. Deputies say an armed Johnson got out of the vehicle, fled on foot, and displayed a weapon. The Sheriff's Department says a deputy fired in response, that Mr. Johnson was struck by gunfire and died at the scene. There are several people on the Boone County Sheriff's Department Facebook page this morning that said that Johnson was an Uber driver here in town. That has not been announced by the authorities. Federal dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act will pay for a major funding boost for daycares across Missouri. Governor Parson made the announcement at Friday's Education Roundtable at Mizzou. He says daycare is one of the biggest hurdles for working families in the state.
He says it's crucial for families to get quality daycare to be able to stay in the workforce.
I think the other thing we learned from the pandemic, and we kind of knew before, is the hundreds of thousands of people that work shift work, the night shifts, the swing shifts of the world. Where a lot of things are based pretty well on those daytime hours, we got to be able to be flexible enough to make sure they have an opportunity to have daycare facilities.
That's Governor Mike Parson. He'll unveil specific details at a later date. ARPA was signed into law by President Joe Biden. The Missouri Senate is still in a stalemate over the controversial issue of congressional redistricting. Senate met on Lincoln's birthday on Friday, a state holiday. They held a very rare Saturday session as a filibuster by the Senate Conservative Caucus continues. They want a 7-1 Missouri GOP map that was rejected by the Senate on a bipartisan 24-8 vote. Senators return to Jefferson City tomorrow afternoon. There will also be a rally that'll take place tomorrow by the folks who support the 7-1 map. And while temperatures are expected to reach 60 degrees tomorrow and Wednesday in Columbia and Jefferson City, a cold front will be moving in Wednesday that could bring some snow and or ice. More likely snow. National Weather Service St. Louis meteorologist Brad Charbonneau tells 93.9 The Eagle a low-pressure system will move into the region between Wednesday and Thursday with widespread rain first. Charbonneau says the NWS is still determining the track. He says the timing is still unclear, but it likely will impact your Thursday morning commute, could impact you on Wednesday evening as well. Again, we just are waiting a lot of details. Probably won't get a better idea until tomorrow. Keep your radio tuned right here to 93.9 The Eagle for updated forecast information. Our news is brought to you live on this Valentine's Day by Dr. Kent Willett Dental Associates. They practice conscious sedation dentistry to relax your fears. Make an appointment now, 573-445-5300, WillettDentalAssociates.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:34. In sports, the Rams are the Super Bowl champions. They rally from behind to beat Cincinnati and Los Angeles 23-20. Pretty good game all the way down to the wire. The Bengals leading in the fourth quarter 20-16. Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown throws in the game. College hoops. Mizzou men's basketball team on the year now 10-14. They beat Ole Miss 70-66 Saturday night. Mizzou Arena in Columbia. That was the annual Rally for Ryan game. A rally against cancer. Mizzou raising $52,000 at this game Saturday evening. That'll be split up in half basically. Half of it going to pediatric cancer research. The other half to help fund MU Health's new children's hospital. Brad Luce. Most of you know Brad here in town. He is the father of Ryan and says that hospital is done so much for his family. He announced that on Twitter. Ronnie DeGray II, Javon Pickett leading Mizzou with 14 points apiece for Mizzou. Again, on the year right now, 10-14. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:36. Traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. If you want to report a traffic issue, things right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. Call or text us at 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
This summer, I was given the opportunity to serve as an intern at Zimmer Communications here in Columbia, Missouri. At Zimmer Communications, I filled the role of executive producer for the morning.
No! Executive producer? Wait a minute.
Where did you find this?
Well, it was World Radio Day yesterday, and I was just celebrating things that are radio and was thinking about the years that I've known you and when I met you as a high school kid in band class and to where you are
Morning
today.
show on Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle. The show I was on is titled Wake Up Columbia and airs weekdays from 5:30 to 9 a.m. One of the best parts about this internship was that I had a platform to talk to the people of mid-Missouri.
No!
I was able to talk about topics and causes that mean a lot to both me and the agriculture industry. This internship allowed me to sharpen my skills in areas of the communications industry that I know will help me with a career once I graduate.
So was this?
I'm so embarrassed.
Well, you should be.
Oh my gosh,
kidding.
it's so cringy.
It's wonderful. Was this a classroom assignment?
Yes.
All right.
I took an internship class last summer.
Okay.
And I got to use this job as my quote-unquote internship.
I was going to
And
say.
so I kind of had to spin it a little bit for the assignment.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page. You're graduated. You're
Yes.
done. You're okay. Because we didn't talk a whole lot about agriculture.
I know. No, so my advisor was the teacher for the class, and she was aware that this is my job and not just an internship. So I'm safe there. But yeah, I kind of had to spin it a little bit.
Brandon's like that person who like just learned to Google, because last week he was talking about stuff on my website. Now he's found this on Hannah. And what he doesn't realize is Hannah and I have been Googling like our entire lives, and we're going to get you back on some of this
I can
stuff.
pull up some of his old stand-up from
Oh.
back in the day.
None of us will have jobs.
No, for real. How did you find this?
For real, I have no idea.
I specifically did a lot of work in news writing and social media management.
I can't tell you the last time I wrote a news story.
I appreciate your honesty about your dishonesty, but Hannah, that's what you'll learn. You fudge your resume. That's what we do. That's norm.
Not if you're a lawyer, you don't.
Listen, people say, well, fudging your resume, it's a bad thing. No, it's universally accepted.
How did you find this?
As well as the technical aspects of producing a morning radio show. Something that sets our show apart from the competition is that we have cameras installed in the studio. This means that we're on Facebook Live for the entire 3.5 hours of our show every morning. Zimmer works for charitable causes such as the Humane Society, the Children's Hospital here in Columbia, the Food Bank of Central Missouri, and Cars for Heroes. I got to be a part of a broadcast in which a local veteran was awarded transportation through the Cars for Heroes program. I am truly thankful for my time at Zimmer Communications, and I look forward to continuing to work with them as my career develops.
You got me. Got me. This is so embarrassing.
How long ago was that?
It was literally like last summer.
Last summer.
It was not that long ago.
But you've graduated, you got good grades, so the fact that you fudged on this homework assignment a little bit, it's not a big deal. But I loved what you said is we were celebrating National
World Radio Day yesterday.
World Radio Day, because you talk about the power of a local radio station. I don't mean local just like it's here, but local. Zimmer Radio is Columbia.
How did you find this?
I don't know. I swear, I don't.
Likely story.
But don't feel bad.
For anyone who's curious about what might be going on in Northwest Florida, they have the option to tune into Pensacola Right Now, hosted by Branden Rathert.
The way I would describe the show is it's a genuine talk show. Again, we think talk show, first thing that pops into mind for a lot of people is political talk, right-wing talk, and that's not what we do. So I would describe my show as a place where folks can come and they can get the news, but you're driving home, it's between 4 and 7. You're driving home, you're getting the news, but you're not getting burdened by it.
Man, even like less than 10 years ago, I still kind of had that nasal sound, didn't I? A little bit.
Well, didn't you say you didn't hit puberty till 40?
Yeah, 40, 42 before I hit puberty. But it was World Radio Day. So we talk about, like Hannah was saying, these charitable projects. As a matter of fact, our annual Children's Miracle Network Radiothon is coming up. It's just a couple of weeks from now, and it's something that we say, and just so we understand, when we talk about local radio, it's just not it's a local radio station that happens to be here in town. It's somebody that takes part in the community. As a matter of fact, people like Missouri Credit Union helping us out with the Miracles for Kids Radiothon. That's coming up February 24th and 25th. And this is something where we give the community an opportunity to get involved in a very important project. Caterpillar is helping us out this year. Kendall's Towing and Recovery. Plus our friends at Allstate Consultants are helping us out. So it's World Radio Day. And I don't know how I found that sizzle reel.
I don't believe you.
Do you know somebody named Amy?
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a school project. I don't know why she would have found it either.
Incidentally, that sizzle reel thing you did's got more views than comedy that I've had posted on YouTube for like 15 years now.
I didn't think anybody would view that except my teacher.
Welcome to the show, Wake Up Columbia. So one of the big pieces of news over the weekend, this thing in Canada, by the way, and I have some audio because Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, he's evolved on free speech. He's had, sometimes you get new information and you change your mind about things. Justin Trudeau, in talking about things like BLM protests, things like that.
Canada will always stand up for the right of peaceful protest anywhere around the world, and we're pleased to see moves towards de-escalation and dialogue.
But what he meant to say is we're in favor of free speech as long as whatever free speech is about agrees with what I think.
Over the past few days, Canadians were shocked and frankly disgusted by the behavior displayed by some people protesting.
Because they were protesting against something that you believe in.
We talked about how they had campfires and games
Board
and Plinko boards.
games.
I heard this morning that they even had bounce houses for kids. So I wonder, they're having a trucker convoy in Jeff City, tomorrow? I'm wondering what kind of cool stuff they're going to bring with them.
He's evolved on the issue, and apparently there's talk of there's going to be a convoy that's going to start in California, and they're going to go to Washington, D.C., and of course the feds, they're on that because this completely disagrees with what they stand for. And that's the worst thing of all this. We've seen the hypocrisy. Whether you're going to the Super Bowl yesterday, all these elected officials and celebrities in the stands of this football game, the same people that for 2 years saying, Stephanie, you got to wear a mask because they work. You have to. They don't believe their own bullshit. They don't, because they're not wearing... Sorry.
Careful.
They're not wearing the masks. And I'll go back to, it's a sick, horrendous relationship. It's a controlling relationship. If you have ever been in a controlling relationship, you know how evil and sick it is. And that is exactly, and I'm not exaggerating, that's exactly what it's like with these people. You got to wear a mask. They want you to do what they want you to do.
I mean, and as fired up as you are about it, right? You're pretty fired up this morning. Imagine if you're one of those people who actually believed that they believed what they were saying, and you've been wearing a mask in your car, hiding in your basement, and now you're seeing all of this. Yep. Imagine how angry you would be if you were one of those people that was believed that, what they were saying and that they truly believed in it.
Yeah. And I want to kill some time here because Chuck wants to yank my chain here on the air. So let me kill some time here. In a school district in Las Vegas, because we hear all the time, and it's BS, especially in our local schools, the kids are fine wearing masks. Then that's to try to make people think, all the kids are okay with it. And the kids might be okay with it if they want to wear it. And again, these progressives, all these Democrats that we saw yesterday at the football game and that we've seen the whole time, whether Pelosi getting her hair did and all that, they're hypocritical liars with control issues. They're a bad boyfriend. They're a bad boyfriend or a bad
girlfriend. Yeah.
School in Las Vegas. Teacher comes out and she has good news for the kids. And listen, I hope you get a chance to find this video, but I think you'll hear it's not just kids excited. These are kids from the bottom of their hearts experiencing joy.
Starting tomorrow, we don't have to wear masks anymore.
And they go on and on and on. If you see the video, it's not like they're just excited. It's not like they're giving applause for a birthday cake. These kids... Do you know what I mean?
It matters. I mean, my son goes to the same camp every summer, and he had not been wearing masks in school. And when we told him, hey, you get to go to camp, he was so excited. And then we said, you got to bring a mask. He was actually thinking, do I want to go? I mean, something that he truly enjoys doing every year. And when we told him about the masks, you could just see the change and the heartbreak on his face.
Coming up at 7:52, results from just a small Twitter poll. I learned how to do the Twitter poll, I think.
You're doing it.
And you didn't even have to ask me for help. Steph, did you help him?
I don't know. I didn't. Not really. Oh, I did.
Yeah,
I
you
did.
did.
He said,
There it is. There it is.
But I asked of the 4 U.S. Senate candidates that took part in the Lincoln Days debate over the weekend, who are you liking? And I have the results. And it's a small sample size. It's on a Twitter page, whatever, but it's still kind of interesting. I have that coming up for you at 7:52. 874-9390. 874-9390. Chuck, what can I do for you, bud?
I was just going to tell you, don't give Hannah such a hard time.
Thanks,
And
Chuck.
I find it ironic. Yeah, I find it ironic too that she got right back at you by playing a clip from Pensacola, and that's exactly where I'm heading right this moment.
No kidding. What are you doing? By the way, is this Chuck the trucker?
That is me.
Can you hold are you able to hold for a couple of minutes? I want to come back and talk to you about things we're hearing that might happen here in America and what's been going on in Canada. Are you able to hold?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. I want to get thoughts from an actual trucker on what's happening and what could potentially happen here. We'll get those thoughts with Chuck coming up here at 7:53 on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, and results from the
Producer _ Hannah. Yikes.
great line on a great job for you potentially at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting, they help folks. They help homeowners who have septic tanks and lagoons. They help you maintain that stuff. It's kind of like a car, you know. You keep a good maintenance program on something like your septic tank or a lagoon. Ideally, you're not going to have any big major problems. And you get to help people when you're working for Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. And I can tell you this, will personally vouch for the people at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Not only are John and Brenda Martin good people to work for, but the other people that work there, like, you know, you got a guy that he's out on the road, he's a tech, and his wife is working there too. It's just about everything you want in a job, you will probably find it at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Get started by logging on to pro-pumping.com.
Let's go. Wake up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
And in effect, that thing at the American-Canadian border busted up. Justin Trudeau, he was for free speech before he was against it. He says it will always be about freedom of speech. He failed to add the disclaimer, as long as it agrees with what we think. Wear the mask. We ain't got to wear the mask, but you got to wear the mask. We're for freedom of speech as long as whatever you're rallying for agrees with what I think. That is absolutely, we see proof every day. That, without a doubt, cannot be denied. You can argue all you want. Anybody could, but they're not going to do it successfully. That is the mindset of a progressive. Chuck drives a Chuck. Chuck, what are your thoughts on what's been happening over the past couple of weeks in Canada?
Well, I'd like to see that happen in the United States, actually, but I'm telling you, it's product supply is low enough the way it is right now. I don't know. We'd be putting a bigger hurt on a hurt that's already really big if we did it here.
And then there's talk, I guess, the Justice Department of Defense. Somebody's, we heard there's going to be a trucker convoy that's going to leave California, go to Washington, D.C. And then apparently something happening tomorrow in Jefferson City. And again, this goes back to the 7-1 or 6-2 map. Is this actually going to be a trucker convoy? I'm not sure what's happening here. What's life like out on the road for you today, Chuck? You doing all right? Because I know 2 years ago, man, you guys really started taking heat, and you guys, when this whole COVID thing started, you guys faced pretty steep challenges. How are things for you guys today?
It's actually not any better. You couldn't get food at a truck stop to eat. During that time, for some reason, they'd have the truck stop open, but the restaurants that'd be attached to it were closed. And now, if you're not getting in the truck stop by 5, 6 o'clock at night, they're closing at that time because they're low staffed. The prices were bad enough for truck drivers and truck stops to start with, and they've gone up twofold since then. So, just to give you an idea, I'm a rock star drinking addict, and
let me clarify here for Chuck. When you say you're a rock star drinking addict, rock star is an energy drink. He's not saying I'm a rock star alcoholic. Rock star is an energy drink. Hey man, Chuck. Yes. We appreciate you. Are you listening? How are you listening to 93.9 The Eagle this morning?
Always on the app.
On the app, you can download that app for free. Go to our website. Hey man. We appreciate you. So this weekend, big news made as far as the 2022 U.S. Senate race. Saturday morning, Josh Hawley comes out and makes an endorsement in that race.
Yeah, Josh Hawley endorsed Vicky Hartzler right before the forum.
And then in the forum, it was a forum. It wasn't a debate. They're all Republicans. So really, there was maybe some minor digs, as you would expect, but nothing really big. I come out of that, didn't move the needle for me. Anything I will say, I think the 4 candidates, they're good candidates. I really do believe that. And what I saw, and I'll say this about Mark, and not that Mark McCloskey's my favorite, but he did a pretty good job in this forum.
Based on my expectations, I would say he exceeded my expectations.
That's good. By the way, a poll on Twitter, at Rathert Branden, of the 4 candidates that took part in this forum over the weekend. Who is it that you are liking? Hartzler, Long, Schmidt, or McCloskey? Right now, your leader would be Vicky Hartzler with 50% of the vote.
What's the latest on Ukraine? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Congressional leaders are about to get a briefing.
We have seen over the course of the past 10 days a dramatic acceleration in the buildup of Russian forces.
The National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tells CBS Face the Nation there is still hope diplomacy can prevent an invasion, and Russia appears open to more discussion. Fox's Simon Owen has an update live.
Dave, the U.S. says a Russian invasion could be imminent, but Russia is leaving the door open to further diplomacy. At a meeting with President Putin, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said his advice is to keep talking to the U.S. and its allies. He said the Biden administration had put forward concrete proposals on resolving Russian complaints about security in Eastern Europe. But he added, we will not allow endless negotiations. Dave?
Simon, a Russian figure skater who failed a pre-Olympic drug test will be allowed to keep competing in Beijing by the Court for Arbitration for Sport. But if Kamila Valieva wins, like she did with the Russian team last week, there won't be any Olympic medal ceremonies for him. The Rams are going to Disneyland the day after winning the Super Bowl.
It's about the team. I'm so happy for these players. World champs, baby!
Coach Sean McVay's Los Angeles Rams beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 on NBC Sports. A busy border crossing's back open. The bridge from Windsor, Ontario to Detroit after being blocked for nearly a week, and that trucker protest against COVID mandates still going on in the Canadian capital.
They are sending a message, not just the truckers, but thousands of people who, especially on the weekends, come out to support these truckers, and they place their signs here. Go, truckers, go. No vax pass. Mandate freedom.
That's Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble in Ottawa. A famed filmmaker has died. Ivan Reitman made us laugh for decades. Ghostbusters, one of his biggest hits. He was 75, died over the weekend. America's listening to Fox News.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 24 degrees, sunny right now in Columbia. Going to be a nice day today. Sunshine with a high of 48 degrees. Clear skies tonight, low near 28. Tomorrow, sunshine with a high of 61 degrees. Today is Monday. It's Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2022. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour on this Monday morning.
8400 block of Richland.
5720 Boone County, shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, 1033.
1020 Boone County, start medics this way, start medics.
Received.
That is the sound of the radio call from Boone County Joint Communications from that Sunday morning deputy-involved shooting incident. That sound is courtesy of our news partner, ABC 17 News. Hannah Falcon and Layla Mitchell working that story for KMIZ yesterday. We thank them for the audio. The Boone County Sheriff's Department has identified the suspect in this case as 37-year-old Blaine Johnson of Columbia, whose vehicle deputies say was possibly connected to a kidnapping and the theft of a vehicle. Deputies say they tried to pull over Johnson's vehicle near the Lake of the Woods area on Sunday morning about 10:30, but he fled. That vehicle ended up in a field near Rangeline and Richland Roads where Johnson got out. Deputies say Johnson displayed a weapon and that a deputy fired in response to Johnson's actions. Missouri State Highway Patrol now handling the investigation at the request of the Boone County Sheriff's Department. Charges, meantime, will not be filed against a local reporter.
Cole County's prosecutor will not charge a St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter who exposed a state database flaw. that allowed public access to thousands of teachers' Social Security numbers. Cole County Prosecutor Locke Thompson released a statement late last week saying there is an argument to be made there was a violation of the law. And he also said the issues at heart of the investigation have been resolved through a non-legal means. John Marsh, 93.9, The Eagle.
John, thanks. Look for Columbia School Board to approve a detailed review of the district's special education services and programs at their meeting tonight. The Columbia Public Schools Administration requesting approval of a proposal from New Solutions K-12 for a systematic review of CPS's services, programs, procedures, schedules, and staffing as it relates to special education as well as current social, emotional, and behavior supports. CPS's Michelle Baumstark tells the Eagle the district has been talking about this for a few years. $195,000 cost will be covered by the Chief Financial Officer operating budget. The National Weather Service is still unclear about a track, but says snow is possible in mid-Missouri on Wednesday into Thursday morning. And again, we will see bright sunshine for the next couple of days. Tomorrow and Wednesday, highs in the 60s, but we will see a big cold front move through. You're going to want to keep that radio tuned right here to 93.9 The Eagle. Still unclear on the track. Right now, it appears to be late Wednesday in the evening into Thursday. Meteorologist Kevin Schneider is saying mostly snow in this situation, but Kevin also tracking that for us. And again, the timing on that still unclear. But again, keep your radio tuned here. And there is the possibility of accumulating snow. Federal dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act will pay for a major funding boost for daycares across the state of Missouri. Governor Mike Parson making that announcement at Friday's Education Roundtable at Mizzou. He says daycare is one of the biggest hurdles for working families in the state. The governor tells me it's crucial for families to get quality daycare to be able to stay in the workforce.
I think the other thing we learned from the pandemic, and we kind of knew before, is the hundreds of thousands of people that work shift work, the night shifts, the swing shifts of the world. You know, where a lot of things are based pretty well on those daytime hours, we got to be able to be flexible enough to make sure they have an opportunity to have daycare facilities.
Governor Parson will unveil specific details at a later date in terms of how much money. It will be millions and millions of dollars, though. ARPA was signed into law by President Joe Biden. In saying that demand for testing is declining, MU Healthcare will be reducing the hours of its COVID test collection site on Columbia's North Keene. That'll start this morning. The new hours, 8 to noon, 7 days a week. That's 8 a.m. until noon, 7 days a week. Site is located inside Women's Hospital. An appointment is not required. We have more on this, including a picture of that site so you know where you're looking for on our website, 939theeagle.com. Our news is brought to you live this hour by Callaway Bank. The Callaway Bank is with you for the moments that matter. They have a dedicated customer care team. You can text them or call them 7 days a week. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:07. Turning our attention now to sports. The Rams are the Super Bowl champions after rallying from behind to beat Cincinnati in Los Angeles 23-20. The Bengals led in the fourth quarter 20-16. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford 3 touchdown throws in the game, including the game winner from about the 3-yard line or thereabouts, and they end up winning the game. Stan Kroenke, who is spent a lot of time here in Columbia, Missouri, was interviewed. Roger Goodell and Mr. Kroenke both on television last night on NBC. Our sports is brought to you this hour by MU Healthcare. Join us February 24th and 25th for the 16th annual MU Healthcare Children's Hospital Miracles for Kids Radiothon. Give now, muhealth.org/radiothon. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:08. All right, Kevin, thank you so much and great work today. We appreciate you working with us on the snow as well, coming in later in the week. Right now, 24. And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. 8:09 here on 93.9 The Eagle, 93.9theeagle.com. It's been a pretty quiet morning in terms of the roads. We always like to see that. If we're missing something, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
So, should I just go straight in?
You think it'll fit?
Well, we've never tried this before.
I'm nervous.
Well, you can always stop if it feels too tight.
Okay, let's try it.
Shame on you. You know who I'm talking to. That was USA Today says Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl commercial with Anna Kendrick wins their ad meter thing, whatever. I call BS on USA Today. I say that commercial from right here in mid-Missouri. That was a car commercial for Rusty Drewing Automotive. Has to be, hands down, the best commercial that played in the Super Bowl last night. And is what that is. It's a couple, and you don't see him. It's just a close-up shot of this couple, and he's saying, hey, do you think it'll fit? She says, well, you can go slow. We can, slide it in real easy, and if it doesn't...
They did not say that.
If it doesn't fit, you can pull it out. And
okay.
And then,
they're just talking about their car in the garage. Why is that your top commercial?
Because of Stephanie's reaction.
My face is so red.
And it's the camera zooms out on this shot, and it's this couple, and they're trying to see if their car can fit into the garage. That has to be the best commercial. Shame on you if you thought otherwise. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. You can find Stephanie Bell on Twitter.
Stephanie S. Bell.
And I'm at Brian on the air.
Producer_Hannah.
And I'm at Rathert Branden.
Had to put it on your screen for you so you don't forget.
I can read it so I don't forget. By the way, do have a poll up there. The 4 participants in this weekend's 2022 U.S. Senate Candidate Forum. Put a poll. Hartzler, Schmidt, McCloskey, or Billy Long. Who you liking in the 2022 U.S. Senate race out of the people that took part in the forum this weekend? Last check. Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler leads, and an informal poll with a small sample size. She has 50% of the vote. Second place, Eric Schmidt, 32% of the vote. Then Long and McCloskey tied at 9. I tell you, I think, and again, this was not a debate, it was a forum. I thought Eric Schmidt got some really good, and they said, hey, audience, be cool, don't go and go crazy with standing ovations. But I felt a lot of what Eric Schmidt said, because he's got some things that he can go on as far as it comes to education and what's been happening here. I thought he got some good response.
Yeah, and he stayed on message, and his message really was, hey, these other guys are all talk. I'm action. Look at the things I've actually done. I've actually fought for parents. I've actually fought against Joe Biden. Yeah. Look at what I've been, look at my record from the last, my time as Attorney General. I'm someone who will take action. I'm not just words. And we heard that time and time and time again. I think the other thing we haven't talked about with the Hawley endorsement of Hartzler, and, that was criticized later by Congressman Long, and just saying, I think Hartzler's trying to get me out of the race. But that was some of the speculation of, does that endorsement convince some of these folks that, whose poll numbers really aren't in a position at this point that give them a path to victory, to then drop out of the race and say, you know what, I'm going to leave it to these guys. And then if that happens, how does that impact the current? Because I think right now people are thinking it's between Hartzler and Schmidt, right? Their poll numbers are fairly close. They're both raising money well. They both have a good message. So how does somebody dropping out potentially affect them?
Two things. I want to introduce you to a guy who's got, it's a new, like a local publication. A mayoral candidate in Columbia turned me on to this, and I checked it out. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And then Fred Perry, editor of Inside, editor emeritus, Inside Columbia magazine, he mentioned it to me. He said, hey, have you seen this thing called COMO BUZ? And so I checked it out again, and the guy who's put this thing together, he's going to be joining us shortly, but I want to go back to Billy Long. Had an interesting interaction with him that I hope to share before 9 o'clock. This was Friday night. But Billy Long reacting after Hawley announced that he's endorsing Vicky Hartzler.
I knew that was coming for a long time. Whenever the day that Vicky hired Josh's team at On Message to represent her, I called Josh and I said, this looks to me like that, you might be getting in a Vicky.
And so it looks like you're getting into that race. And we had even surmised behind the scenes here, which maybe if you were watching on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, 93.9 The Eagle, you can watch every day. You would have seen Stephanie and I one day last week, and even probably prior to that, we were kind of huddled in a corner. And I think Brian, you would have seen him. You wouldn't have heard anything, but you would have seen me, Stephanie, and Brian kind of huddled in a corner saying, this is 3 weeks in a row we're getting press releases from the Congresswoman's office, and she's talking about working with Josh on stuff. And what were we kind of surmising prior to this announcement?
Yeah, that was probably coming.
Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. Glad you could be here. If there's something we could do for you, 874-9390, 874-9390. Want to welcome, introduce you to a guy by the name of Mike Murphy. He's put something together. It's called COMOBUZ.com. That is Buzz with one Z. Now, Mike, I got to tell you, so I had a mayoral candidate turned me on to what you're doing, and I checked it out. I'm like, okay. And then Fred Perry, who I'm assuming, Fred Perry knows everybody in town.
Sure.
Mentions your thing. So I can tell you what I know from looking at it. Here's kind of my assessment. It's some local political stuff, local business news, but I'm not seeing a lot of slant. And I bring up the slant thing. Here's why. I think it was the Columbia Daily Tribune last week, and it's the same guy that does this crap all the time. He's mentioning candidates that have been announcing for our local House of Representative races. And he mentions David Tyson Smith, and I think Shamin Schwak, and I think an Adrian Plank. So he mentions all of these and says these are all folks that have recently announced. Well, he failed in this local newspaper. He failed to mention, oh, yeah, and there's a conservative that is announced this week in one of the races, businessman John Martin. And I get frustrated because it's a common theme from this newspaper. And tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm seeing with your publication, you're kind of the counterbalance to that, maybe? Do I got it wrong?
You don't have it exactly correct. I don't think I'm balancing anything. I think I'm right smack down the middle. If you can read every story, talk to every candidate, mostly we're local so far. But I'm an old newspaper guy from the days when we really did try to stay unbiased. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that at the end of this race or the next race, it's going to be long and hard for anybody to figure out where I stand, because I kind of want to stay right in the middle so that I can access everybody. And really my goal is simply to bring quality information to people, not bring a position to them that they probably already have anyway.
And for what you're doing with COMO Buzz, it should be that way. If you're saying, hey, just news, people shouldn't, in this situation, shouldn't know where you stand. What spurred you to start this?
Well, I needed a job, so that's
okay.
I retired. I took early retirement from Gannett a year ago, and I started planning this, and I planned on doing that for a year or so before that. So I started planning what I wanted my last job to be. I needed something that I could feel passionate about, get me out of bed in the morning, contribute to society a little bit, and do it in a place where I really wanted to live and work. So I put this together for Columbia. This is what my version of, I guess, an online newspaper would look like, covering the subjects that I want to cover and the subjects that I think there would be a lot of interest in Columbia.
Mike Murphy is joining us. Now, is it going to be print or website?
All web, all online.
COMOBUZ1Z.com. Now, there used to be like a Jefferson City publication or website kind of similar to this. Were you involved with that at all?
That's me. Yeah, that was my beta test, so to speak, and it's still there. So the last year I was with Gannett, I got launched in Jeff City and got all my details worked out, my infrastructure in place, and I'm still there. So there's an identical COMO Buzz and JC Buzz, and if you look at COMO Buzz, you look at our departments or our sections, you go all the way to the right across the top, you'll see Jeff City. So you can click on Jeff City and get all the same stuff in Jeff City.
Right. So if we're looking at other websites out there, and I'm just going to go with the two newspapers that are in Columbia, Daily Tribune and the Missourian, what separates you from them?
Well, I don't plan on doing anything they're doing. So all my content's original, and if they're doing it, I'm trying not to do it. So I'm trying to deliver news that they're not going to get to or are not capable of doing. If I'm doing what they're doing, I'm in trouble. That's how I kind of look at it, because I don't think anybody's particularly looking at them much anymore, and I need people to look at me. So I'm trying to cover things that they're either not interested in or not capable of doing.
All right, honesty from Mike Murphy, COMOBUZ.com, Buzz with 1Z. Anything else you want to add before we let you go? Just don't go and make this a commercial and tell people to come on and subscribe. But anything else as far as COMOBUZ.com that you want to mention?
Well, take a look.
Yeah.
It's a paid subscription website, but you get to look around quite a while before that paywall will drop down. So I really would like people to. I think it sells itself if people jump on and take a look.
All right, COMOBUZ.com. Mike, thanks for joining us, man. We're look forward to you potentially contributing to the community, contributing by way of informing people.
Be happy to.
All right. Coming up, we're going to be doing the Morning Bell. Business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you. What are we looking forward to this morning?
Well, let's review some more of those Super Bowl ads.
All right, we can do that.
Wake Up Columbia. News, analysis, opinion, and Hannah the producer. 93.9 The Eagle.
One of the other highlights from this weekend's Lincoln Days event in Chesterfield, which Stephanie and I attended, pretty much everybody that matters in the 2022 U.S. Senate race was there. Also, this is pretty interesting. You know, we now have there's a lobbyist for cryptocurrency.
There is.
Yeah, and I'm like, so first of all, I still can't get my head around cryptocurrency. I'm just now catching on with direct deposit. That's only taken me about 25 years to get the hang of.
Oh, good Lord.
Right? So now we have cryptocurrency, and we have a cryptocurrency lobbyist. Eapen Thampy is going to be joining us 8:35 here on 93.9 The Eagle. And now it's 8:27, time for the Morning Bell business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
Cryptocurrency was actually, and sports gambling, made their debuts at the Super Bowl commercials this weekend. And it was actually Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange, that I guess used their commercial to put up a QR code. And people were just like really confused. And then other people were like, should I scan this? Is this a scam? I'm nervous because QR codes take you directly to a website. So that one did not go over well. What did go over well was the Rocket Mortgage commercial featuring Anna Kendrick and the Barbie Dream House. Hannah, did you ever have a Barbie Dream House?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I did. And my girls have one. And they've gotten bigger, and like more elaborate. But it was perfectly timed based on what everyone knows about the mortgage industry right now, because they had a house flipper skipper and like a cash only Carl. And it was like, oh no, Barbie might not get the house because the mortgage industry is so insane right now. But you can use Rocket Mortgage to get like a pre-approval that will help you get your dream house. And so, it was timely. It was cute. It had a, Barbie. Come on. It was good.
Rusty Drewing. Those were cute. Rusty Drewing, local car dealer. I'm serious. They hit it out of the park. First commercial, a couple of ladies older than myself sitting and talking. And
ooh, look. I love the body on that one.
So rugged. Looks powerful.
I think you should take that one for a ride.
Sure does have a nice rear end.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And this dude, they're leering, or that you think they're leering at the whole time. The dude walks away, and what they've been leering at and admiring is a car. Thought it was a great commercial. Again, those commercials that play on your psyche, that take your, what was it? One of the most brilliant lines I've heard in a long time. I can't remember. We were playing something, and and it was a suggestive commercial, and I said, why does it make you mad, Stephanie? And you said, because of what it makes me think. Because of what my head is thinking right now. And that's great marketing. Coming up, so we have a lobbyist in the cryptocurrency world. Eapen Thampy is here. Really his first media interview talking about this. I think it's interesting on a couple of different levels. We get the inside scoop coming up at 8:35.
I'm Chris Foster. Top House Democrats and Republicans are briefed this morning about the possibility of Russian troops invading Ukraine. Senators get a briefing this afternoon.
On Fox News Sunday, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby explained why sanctions haven't been put in already.
If it's a deterrent and you use it before the aggression is made or the transgression is made, then you lose your deterrent effect.
President Biden spoke to Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday. The White House says the two leaders agreed on the importance of continuing to pursue diplomacy and deterrence in response to Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. The movie producer and director Ivan Reitman died 75 years old.
Among his best-known hits, National Lampoon's Animal House, Stripes, and the Oscar-nominated Ghostbusters.
What happened? Are you okay?
he slimed me.
Reitman also went on to direct the sequel and help produce Ghostbusters Afterlife, released last year, directed by his son Jason.
Fox's Lillian Wu. America's listening to Fox News.
It's 93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:31. We do have bright sunshine right now in Columbia. Our high today will be around 48 degrees. There is a possibility of some snow later this week, maybe some ice, more likely snow. That'll be coming your way Wednesday night into Thursday. Most likely we'll update that for you here in just a moment. Good morning, and here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Missouri State troopers have identified a suspect killed in Sunday morning's incident near East Columbia's 37-year-old Blaine Johnson of Columbia. The incident ending up in a field near Rangeline and Richland Roads. It began about 10:30 in the morning when a deputy saw a vehicle in the Lake of the Woods area, possibly connected to a kidnapping. The Boone County Sheriff's Department says a deputy tried to stop the vehicle, but Johnson did not pull over. A pursuit began, ending in that field. Deputies say an armed Johnson got out of the vehicle, fled on foot, displaying a weapon. The Sheriff's Department says the deputy fired in response and that Johnson was struck by gunfire and died at the scene. Meantime, federal dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, will pay for a major funding boost for daycares across Missouri. Governor Parson making the announcement Friday at an education roundtable here in Columbia. He did so at Mizzou at NextGen. He says daycare is one of the biggest hurdles for working families in the state. The governor says it is crucial for families to get quality daycare to be able to stay in the workforce.
I think the other thing we learned from the pandemic, and we kind of knew before, is the hundreds of thousands of people that work shift work, the night shifts, the swing shifts of the world, where a lot of things are based pretty well on those daytime hours. We got to be able to be flexible enough to make sure they have an opportunity to have daycare facilities.
Governor Parson will unveil the specific details at a later date. The Missouri Senate is still at a stalemate over the controversial issue of congressional redistricting. Senate met on Lincoln's birthday on Friday, a state holiday, and they held a very rare Saturday session as a filibuster by the Senate Conservative Caucus continues. The Conservative Caucus wants a 7-1 Missouri GOP map. And while temperatures are expected to reach 60 degrees tomorrow and Wednesday in both Columbia and Jefferson City, a cold front will be moving in Wednesday that could bring snow and or ice. National Weather Service St. Louis meteorologist Brad Charbonneau tells the Eagle a low-pressure system will move into the region between Wednesday and Thursday. Timing still unclear, and the track is a little bit unclear. There will be widespread rain first. That is according to Charbonneau, who says the NWS is still determining the track. Keep your radio tuned right here to 93.9 The Eagle for updated forecast information. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction, with homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, Creeks Edge, and Timber Brook. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:34. Turning our attention now to sports. The Rams are the Super Bowl champions after rallying from behind to beat Cincinnati and Los Angeles 23-20. Bengals led the game in the fourth quarter 20-16. Matthew Stafford, the Rams quarterback, with 3 touchdown throws in the game. Mizzou men's basketball team now 10-14 on the year. They beat Ole Miss Saturday night. Mizzou Arena in Columbia 70-66, 7th annual Rally for Ryan game. Mizzou with $52,000 they raised at the game that'll go towards pediatric cancer research, also to help fund MU Health's new children's hospital. DeGray and Pickett leading Mizzou. They had 14 points apiece. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:35. And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job. Post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you do want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
You guys up for a toga party?
Toga! Toga!
Yeah, I think they like the idea, Hoof.
From the movie Animal House, Ivan Reitman. That was the thing that launched him into fame. Ivan Reitman died over the weekend. He did, and he had his hands on a whole bunch of other movies, too, of course. The Ghostbuster movies, Kindergarten Cop, but it was the classic Animal House to this day. That movie's got to be almost 50 years old at this point, and to this day, if you've been in, you got to see that. Hannah, have you ever seen Animal House?
No, I haven't.
As a college student, or as a former college student, you ever see it?
I think I've seen parts of it.
Hauswirth?
I've heard of it. I've not seen it. So
Listen, this weekend I was going to, so I had two options really this weekend. I had two things I wanted to do. Stephanie invited me to the Lincoln Days in St. Charles. There's going to be a candidate forum. Everybody's going to be there. So it was either that or go watch Johnny Knoxville's Jackass 4. So those were the two options. But Brian Hauswirth, I'll have you know that I thought, well, if I go and see Jackass 4 this weekend, I want to take you with me. Have you probably, I'm going to assume you haven't seen any of the Jackass movies.
I have not, yeah.
Would you, like if we were to go to the movies here one night, would you go with me to see Jackass 4?
I would when I have time. I got to have time to do that.
That's a no. That's a no. Welcome into the show. You can find Brian Hauswirth on Twitter.
At Brian on the Air, my friend. Thank you.
Stephanie S. Bell.
Producer_Hannah.
At Rathert Branden. As a matter of fact, still looking at this poll. We put up a poll following the 2022 U.S. Senate Candidate Forum in St. Charles over the weekend. Who you liking of the four that were there? Hartzler, Long, Schmidt, or McCloskey. Right now, it's Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, and it's a small, informal little poll on Twitter.
It's a little poll.
Congresswoman Hartzler, 62% of the vote right now. Eric Schmidt, 24%. Long and McCloskey at 7% of the vote.
The one thing, Branden, Stephanie, when you guys referenced the endorsement from Senator Hawley that grabbed my attention, and it got covered in the news. You both covered it extremely well, and great coverage all morning on what happened. But what stuck out to me is Senator Blunt made it very clear he was not, and I think he's going to stick with this, he is not going to endorse, and he made that very clear. Yet Hawley did, and I was a little surprised. Not so much about who, but I was surprised he made an endorsement. But you guys had thought maybe something was coming. I thought maybe he would wait until after the primary. But again, it shows there's a difference between Hawley and Blunt in terms of somebody stepping in now and someone going to wait until the end of the primary.
And Blunt apparently Saturday, the honoring Roy Blunt Saturday night was.
It was really well done. In fact, there was a comment made by Karl Rove that I think we should, about Senator Blunt, that I think we should go over in a few minutes.
We will do that. Before we move forward into our next guest who happened to be at the events this weekend, quick reaction from McCloskey after Hawley announced that he's going to be endorsing Hartzler.
Josh Hawley's endorsement of Vicky Hartzler is just what you would expect, that a person who's got high political office will endorse somebody else who's been a 5-term congressman.
Congresswoman, I think is what he was trying to say. Eapen Thampy, been on the show over the years regarding medicinal marijuana, legalized marijuana. I want to talk about something different this morning, cryptocurrency lobbying. But first, Eapen, you attended all of the events this weekend. Let's start with that, because this is a huge race, by the way. I mean, national news outlets are paying attention to our 2022 U.S. Senate race. Big takeaway or two after you saw that forum Saturday.
Yeah, I think, if we all like Billy Long, but I think that there's a consensus here that he's kind of peaked in terms of his support. But if you look at the field without Billy Long, right, Vicky Hartzler is the only candidate who's not from St. Louis. So Senator Hawley's endorsement from that perspective didn't surprise me at all. I think that if you just think about this in geographic terms, there's definitely a desire to see a candidate who's not from St. Louis from everyone who's not from St. Louis.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. I'm not asking who you're supporting, but I asked former Speaker of the House, Tim Jones. He and I sat down and talked for a while yesterday. We've been highlighting some of his comments, and I'll ask you the same question I asked him. I said, I'm not asking who you're voting for, but seeing this forum, did it change anything for you? He said no, and I think we were on the same page on this. You know, even Mark McCloskey, who I think people expect the least from, I thought did a pretty decent job, but it really didn't change anything for me. What about you?
Yeah, I would say about the same thing. Just from a rhetorical basis, I thought Vicky spoke really well. I've only seen McCloskey speak in a couple of venues, but I thought he performed well. I think all of these candidates have really strong records on certain things, and especially Schmidt, Hauswirth and Long. And then it's at some point it's hard to differentiate. That some of these guys have been fighting for the same things for 20, 30 years. So
the other thing I found interesting, Eapen, was everybody in I'm exaggerating to say, but everybody stumbling over themselves to mention how often they've worked with Trump and how much in line they which I get it, but it's just when you actually see all four of them doing it, it's like, well, you're not really differentiating yourself from the next individual, but you are saying, hey, one way or another, I am tied into Trump. Eapen Thampy joining us on 93.9 The Eagle. I don't know where to start on this cryptocurrency lobbying. It's fascinating to me, and we only have about four minutes here. I can't even get my head around cryptocurrency yet, Eapen. I have tried to understand it. Do you have because people say, oh, cryptocurrency is at $43,000. Does that mean I have to buy $43,000 of physical coins to get $43,000 worth of some kind of currency? I still can't get my head around it. Do you have a 1 minute explainer where you could explain it to me like I'm 2 years old?
Yeah, so take Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is based on a electronic ledger, a decentralized ledger that is replicated around the world by hundreds of thousands of different nodes. So, Bitcoin is not just a digital asset. It's also a distributed network. So the strength of Bitcoin is it offers the ability to do borderless transactions without the need for any government interference, and no government can control it. The other thing about Bitcoin is that it's a stable hard currency. It can't be inflated away by Congress's reckless spending or the Federal Reserve's endless printing of money. In a sense, I'd say, hey, I get that maybe some people don't understand the technical nature of the Bitcoin network and how it's a store of value and a medium of exchange, but at the same time, think about the U.S. dollar, right? It's backed only by our belief that the United States is strong and can honor its commitments. And at the end of the day, Congress and the Federal Reserve are really taking advantage of that, by I think 40% of the dollars in circulation were printed in the last 2 years. I think everyone can understand that, in terms of everyone who puts food on a table seeing their dollars, worth less, 7% less at least than it was last year at this time.
So you have been lobbying the State House, and I guess there's a new piece of legislation that just got filed about cryptocurrency and how it would be treated in Missouri.
Yeah, so we went to Representative Phil Cristofanelli from St. Charles. He's an attorney and kind of on the cutting edge of some of these issues. So Representative Cristofanelli has filed a bill to exempt cryptocurrencies from property taxes, exempt it from securities regulation, and exempt it from money transmitting licensing requirements. And then we also defined digital assets and blockchain in the Uniform Commercial Code. So it's a small bill. Really, it's meant for, the point here is to protect investors, startups, and companies and consumers. We also talked to Representative Dirk Deaton from Southwest Missouri at Lincoln Days this weekend, and he expressed interest too in filing a bill that would have Missouri adopt Bitcoin as a a legal currency. So theoretically we could, if that passes, we could pay our taxes or state fees in a Bitcoin. That's a trend you're kind of seeing across the country. Arizona has a similar bill. El Salvador now recognizes Bitcoin as a national currency. The state of Wyoming has adopted, allows you to pay your taxes or, Wyoming fees, or even pay for University of Wyoming tuition in Bitcoin. So this is kind of catching on in a lot of areas, and a lot of the, I think, impetus is that state policymakers are realizing this allows us to reassert control of our monetary system, decentralize power away from the federal government, and make your state, relatively, just a little bit more secure and open to freedom and innovation.
All right, Eapen Thampy, before we let you go. So because and you're the very first one, as I understand it, in the state of Missouri that's lobbying on behalf of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and I think that's true.
Are you? Because my reaction was, what? Which, I mean, ultimately it makes sense. Yeah, it's something new. We've got to get lobbyists in Jefferson. See, what kind of reactions do you get from people when they find out that there is now a lobbying arm for cryptocurrency?
I would say probably 80% of lawmakers are unfamiliar with the issues here, but you'd be surprised. Some of the lawmakers are, very in tune. Like talk to Senator Eric Burleson or Representative Travis Smith. Both of them are from South Missouri. Travis is from the Arkansas border, but his son is mining Bitcoin and doing other innovative things. Part of the reason why you're seeing crypto adoption kind of all over the place is that these are ways for individuals to access financial services in ways that were previously relegated to, very high net worth individuals. And now you have decentralized financial exchanges where you can margin trade on, different assets, or, there's like a lot of different things happening in decentralized finance right now that are really cool. And a lot of options.
All right. Eapen Thampy, lobbying regarding cryptocurrency. Good seeing you over the weekend at the Missouri Lincoln Days in St. Charles. Always good chatting with you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
All right, we'll see you coming up. Does it all. Yard cleanup, landscaping. Listen, we're like 30 days from now. The sun's going to be setting like at 7 o'clock at night. Pretty soon we're going to be into spring. So think about this stuff now. I know that we're expecting some snow later this week, and you're not thinking about, lawn maintenance or any kind of landscaping project. But there's a lot of people that are thinking about it, and for the most part, folks around here, they know, hey, when I want landscaping to enhance the look of my home, I'm going to call Salter Lawn Service. How come? Because Salter, one call, does it all. They'll come in and not only do the landscaping, but then over the years, they can do the maintenance on that. They can do the yard cleanup, or maybe you're looking for some more free time this summer, and you want them to put you on a regular schedule for lawn maintenance. They come out to your house several times a month, mow your yard, send you a bill, boom, you're good. Folks that are wanting to do that, they call Salter Lawn Service. But I'm telling you, man, between me and you, between the two of us, you need to get in. You need to start calling them now, because we find oftentimes the stuff gets filled up really fast. So call Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call, does it all.
People are talking about Branden Rathert.
He's a jackass.
This is Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
You can watch Wake Up Columbia by going to you can always watch it on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page, but the other thing you can do, you can go to our YouTube channel. That's apparently people were sending us pictures last week. Somebody had it up in their workplace. They had it up out in the lobby, and they're putting it up on the smart TV. And that way everybody that's around can hear the news and maybe be entertained a little bit, something like that. But the other thing that we are utilizing that for, and we really want you to be a part of it, coming up this Friday, we're doing an exclusive video-only event. We're going to be talking about homelessness because a lot of talk from city leaders. We need to build a homeless shelter and we're going to solve the whole problem and all that. Well, it just simply does not work that way. And I think the problem with them is, the challenge is, they haven't really talked to any people that are affected by homelessness. So we're going to be chatting. We're going to have on Friday at noon, video only. We're going to be chatting with a homeless guy and get his thoughts on this. Additionally, because I have evolved on this issue, thanks to a couple of good friends of mine, homelessness as it relates to families and how we help with that kind of stuff. It's coming up Friday at noon. I do hope you'll watch it. It'll be on the YouTube channel 93.9 The Eagle.
Here's a big old serving of leftovers on 93.9 The Eagle. Enjoy.
All right, we got about 2.5 minutes worth of leftovers. Let's start with Brent. Final thought on Super Bowl commercials. Brent, go ahead, bud.
Love the one where a bunch of people are sitting at the table, and the guy, they all take a bite. They're eating something, and the guy says, well, those oysters got left in the car for 5 days, and then they all spit them out.
Yeah. Was that the one with Peyton and Eli Manning or something like that?
I don't remember. I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw that one and NLMAW. Laugh my you-know-what.
Amen. Brent, thanks for checking in, bud. We appreciate you. Hey, how many days until spring training? Which hopefully he'll call and say, hey, 98 days into what? Spring training. I don't know if there's going to be a spring training this year. I think it's already been delayed because Major League Baseball has locked out the players. Hope they can solve that. What else is in leftovers this morning?
Well, we didn't get to talk about the Saturday night banquet at Lincoln Days, and I thought that was really interesting. They honored Senator Roy Blunt, and Karl Rove was there and kind of gave a speech, and of course is known senator for a long time. It was interesting. They had a long slideshow, 46 years of service, so lots of old pictures and lots of current pictures, but it was the interesting part was every time Senator Blunt was up on the screen next to Trump, just cheers, applause, everyone was really excited. But Karl Rove said, you never really had to guess about Senator Blunt's priorities. There are 3 things important to him, and they came in this order: country, state, and party. And I found that really moving because I think, these days with a lot of politicians, you would not have that same list. And you think I feel like a lot of the infighting we have right now is because people put some of their personal priorities and egos over some of the other things that we would hope that they would have first. So if we were to think about today's politicians, would it be country, state, party, or would it be me, party, then maybe somewhere down the list, country or state?
Or if I really fight this thing, this is going to look good for my next campaign, even though I know it has no chance of becoming reality. If I fight for it, and really I can say, and I'm going to campaign, I'm going to ride that horse hard. Look at what I did. I really fought for whatever the soup du jour is, which happens to be redistricting right now.
And Senator Blunt has taken some criticism, but at times it takes some compromise on things to actually get things across the finish line, and we're seeing lack of compromise preventing some things from getting to the finish line. Right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up here. Gary Nolan's show is coming up next on 93.9 The Eagle. We'll see you.
Bye.